This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud partner of the WAFL and WAFLW. The West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams. Kia, proud partner of the WAFLW. This is Kia. Simply Energy, supporting WA Footy's talent pathway.
The heat has been turned on here at Steel Blue Oval on Sunday afternoon football as we welcome you to our WAFLW match of the day. It is Swan Districts aiming to go 5 from 5 and maintain their stranglehold on top of the WAFLW ladder. Doing battle with Subiaco, desperate for another win. They have a loss of experienced players and are struggling in 5th place and a win behind the top 4. But with a young bench depth ready to fire, do not count the Lions out of this one. And Bassendean is going to be ready for an absolute barnstormer. We have got ourselves a gorgeous day for football, and we look forward to your company throughout the next 2 and a bit hours for the best in West Australian women's football. Swan Districts, they are a couple of wins clear on top of the ladder. In fact, they're equal on points with Claremont, who had themselves a good win yesterday, and Peel Thunder, who are in 3rd place. Subiaco, they need a win, and they need a big boost in their percentage to maintain their chances of a top 4 spot in this 5th round of WAFLW competition. Clint Degebrod is going to join me very shortly as the teams are warming up for this all-important game here at Steel Blue Oval. We'll take a very quick break, and when we do come back, we'll give you the team lineups, the weather thanks to Front Row Screens, and the first bounce here at Steel Blue Oval on Sunday afternoon football.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Welcome back to Steel Blue Oval here at Bassendean for Sunday afternoon WAFLW football. It's round 5 of this year's WAFLW season. It's Swan Districts who are on top of the ladder, aiming for 5 wins out of 5, taking on Subiaco, who have struggled for form in the first 5 weeks and are looking to keep their chances of the top 4 alive. Paul Persick with you in the commentary box on this gorgeous but very warm sunny Sunday afternoon here in Western Australia. Clint Degebrod, as always, joins me in the commentary box as we go to the weather thanks to Front Row Screens. It's going to be a warm one, Clint, 37 degrees. The heat is really on.
It's hot up in the box. I can only imagine what the players are going to go through today. Swannies have got their sprinkler set up on the boundary line, which I think Claremont took full advantage of in round 1. Joe Taylor's just sitting down next to us as well. And I think Swans were quite happy to let Claremont run through it. Hopefully they'll be happy to let Subiaco run through it too. Subiaco going through their paces there. Beatrice Devlin behind, obviously not playing today, the S&C coach. with them. A couple of players there really exciting from Subiaco. Arafella Carmo back. Ellie Blackmore's had a good season so far. The captain, Tani Golisano, has been very good. Caitlin Walker and Jess Ritchie, as always, standing up nice and strong. Claire Ortlap, ever reliable. Abby Darrick, the X Factor today. Jamie Harkins, super reliable down back. And I'm impressed with the form of Mary Rosengrave.
Tell us about Rosengrave, because she's been a big key contributor for Subiaco over the last couple of weeks in the WAFLW.
So she popped up a couple of years ago, didn't she, Joe? Joe hasn't got a headset on yet, so I won't ask her any more questions. Irish girl, and it's great to have her back. And she brought a couple of other Irish girls with her this season. She knows what to do, and she's increased her skills and her knowledge of the game over the last couple of years.
Let's go to the team lineups. We'll start it off with Swan Districts. Swan Districts, what about Osborne, Lauren Osborne? She was sensational last week against East Fremantle down back. She'll be a key for the Swans defence. If you look at Morrison at half forward and also Bella Edgley, who's kicked a couple of goals in the last 2 weeks, has been in good form for the top of the ladder Swan Districts. How will they gel against this Subiaco side desperate for victory?
Well, she's got a goal in every game, Bella Edgley. East Perth product come across to play league footy with the Swannies. They've really worked with Adam Dancy and the team here. Have helped her develop her game. There's a couple other contributors too. Dana East has been super. Michaela Hyde, of course, today into the team, and she's good for 25 possessions, particularly on a day like today because she's trained really hard. The 15-year-old Jamie Henry's been super. Naira Anderson up the front's been out of the box. Chanel Jetta, another youngster that joins in again today. She played a couple of games last year. Sarah Lakay, lovingly known as Puddles down at Swan Districts, has led the ruck for the first time last week, and she was super. I've been impressed with Taylor Edwards, unheralded to here, but each time I watch her, she's just a dangerous small forward for Swans.
A big addition in that side, as a matter of fact, is Chanel Jetta, who will be starting on the bench this afternoon. Let's go now to the lineups for Subiaco, desperate for a win after an indifferent start to the season. Cowie starting down back, Birchall in the centre, Rust in the forward line, as well as Buckley and Hunt. That's a big combination that needs to fire, because they've struggled to score in the last couple of weeks.
They have, and it might be a little bit the same today. They're going up against Amy Ralph and Lauren Osborne, as you pointed out, so pretty tough. They have to move the ball in long and quick and deep. Phila Carmo's pretty good. She changes directions for Subiaco very well, so if she can get a hold of the ball in the centre of the ground and sort of direct traffic there, they might be able to construct some good deep entries against a very solid defensive unit. You see right in front of us here, the Swans warming up in the midfield. We can't see it on the screen right now, but you can have a look there, Paul. Pretty dominant force they have to fight against too.
Absolutely, especially when you have to consider that line's forward line, Darrick, Buckley and Rust. They are still developing players in the WAFLW, but they've got plenty of years to develop their craft. We welcome Joe Taylor into the commentary box, a key personnel for the Swan Districts. Great to have you here this afternoon. It's going to be a big game for Swan Districts, looking to increase their stranglehold atop the ladder.
Oh yeah, look, it's been a great start to the year for Swans. A lot of new young players coming through, so learning a new system, brand new coach. So it's been really satisfying to see how well the team has taken on the new game style that the coaching team's implemented. So yeah, it's an exciting day to see if they can consolidate what they've done so far this season.
It's been a more attacking game plan, isn't it? Because we've seen big scores from the Swan District side, especially last week against South Fremantle, where they again piled on the pressure from start to finish.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Adam Dancy's come out of the AFLW system, and he's brought with him a really attacking forward handball type game style. So it's good to see that as I said, the girls have been able to implement that really well, and it's starting to show on the scoreboard.
Joe Taylor providing special comments all throughout the afternoon. Was representing a key personnel for the Swan District side, who are on top of the ladder, 5 from 5. Subiaco Clint, they're going to have to be hungry. They're going to have to be switched on right from the word go, because the Swan Districts, they control the tempo at a quick pace. They are very quick movers of the ball from defence into attack. Subiaco, they're going to have to slow it down and get a little bit more physical if they desire to win this game. With that in mind, who's your money on today?
Swan Districts.
Swan Districts by how much?
6 goals.
Going 6 goals. I'm going to go the same. Swan Districts by about 6 goals, and Bella Edgley to kick another bag. She has been on a roll in 2021. One goal every game, and on average, as you said, I reckon she's going to maintain that form that she's been in inside that half-forward zone in season 2021. The players just getting themselves into position now for the first bounce. Starting off in the ruck will be Lakay and Jessica Ritchie. Here at Steel Blue Oval at Bassendean. A very warm Sunday afternoon, getting to around 37, 38 degrees. No doubt the players will be sweltering in the heat, but these are some of the best elite athletes in Western Australia. Some of the best female football players in the country. In the best football state in the country. Clint, don't mind that.
I'll go with that.
We're about to get the first bounce underway. The umpires, they're wearing their hats. Siren's just about due to go. We're underway. Swan District's looking for 5 from 5. It's Lakay and Ritchie that'll do battle. The ball's tossed in the air. Lakay punches it away to the advantage of East, and East was held onto, and she'll get the free kick. alongside the centre circle. Plenty of players presenting, but she elects to go across the ground, and that is a fine mark taken by Stribley. Stribley on the outer wing here at Steel Blue Oval, just by the hill. Stribley plays on quickly. Long penetrating kick. About 75 metres out from goal. It's a 2-on-2. In front there was Ugal Hayward. Tries to get the hand pass out. Here is Gelmy. Gelmy caught in a beautiful tackle, but the Swan Districts have more numbers around the football. Stribley once again goes out wide towards right half forward. There's Jetta, couldn't take the mark, but the bounce favoured there was Wielstrup. Wielstrup kicks long. They'll contest about 40 metres out from goal. Edgley in front, but it's been roved there by Morrison. Snaps towards goal, and it's across the face for a behind. First minute of this matchup. First quarter, all thanks to Kia. One behind. Swan District. Subiaco yet to score, Clint.
Yeah, no, Anderson doing some early work there in the forward line, and of course, as you called, Morrison swooped on that footy. Dangerous forward there. Edgley getting involved as well. As the kick comes in from Orlep, key player today for the Subiaco Lions, and she connects with Thorogood. Thorogood just assesses her options, looks towards Ritchie, could be chopped off by Hyde, but it actually drops into Ritchie's lap. Hyde wasn't able to affect a spoil in that situation. Nice little kick in towards Golisano, and Subiaco doing, as you said, Paul, they're just starting to control the footy and trying to build some possession. Another short one's on, finds the midfielder in Birchall for Subiaco. Very careful build-up. This one's going to fall into the hands of Maguire, who just pulls it down by hand, gets control of the footy, pops it in the path of Hope Ugal Hayward, who chops it off the ground. Birchall tries to intercept, but flooding past the ball, which she's done so well over the last couple of weeks, is Dana East. She picks up her own crumbs, tries to find Cox. Cox leaves it behind, finds Anderson. Anderson looking to go to Morrison, waits a handball beautifully, steps Cowie. She's got a running shot from about 45 out. The ball swinging away, but Harkin gets a hand on it and gets it through for a point. Exciting build-up, Paul.
Absolutely. Subiaco, they tried all they can to control the tempo of the football. It was just that kick down the line towards a 2-on-1 contest that sort of stopped their momentum in their track. Swan Districts just laying down the groundwork early on for a good first quarter here, as that kick out is towards Filicamo and takes the mark inside defensive 50. Joe Taylor, Swan Districts doing everything they can to stop Subiaco's entry inside that forward zone. Yeah,
they've set up really well across half forward there to try and lock it in. So it'll be interesting to see how Subi counteract that set up there by Swans.
Kick on towards the centre circle. Dowrick couldn't take the mark. Hand pass away to Blackmore. And Blackmore will send Subiaco inside that forward zone, 1-on-1. Great positioning there by Hardy. Hardy down back. She's got to look for the hand pass towards Henry. Dummies that one. She's caught in a beautiful tackle. A couple of good tackles laid on by Buckley. But Swan Districts, with the pressure at ground level, turn it over again. And that's a good mark taken by Jessica Cox. Cox kicks down the line. Finds a target, Sarah Wielstra. Plays on immediately. Transfers the play towards the centre circle. Bounce favours East. Breaks through two tackles and a bit of a collision between two lines. East releases the ball out towards Anderson, who takes a good mark. Good movement by the Swan District side. There's a player on her own. And it is Naira Anderson who takes the mark. Plays on immediately from just outside the 50 towards a 2-on-2. Out the back there is Edgley. Couldn't take the mark. It's well spoiled. Subiaco have got the numbers in front of the football. They're holding the ball, and they're going to get it. Holding the ball, the free kick will go the way of Swan Districts. And taking the free kick will be Bella Edgley, who has been in form inside that forward 50. And we'll look for another. This will be her fourth in the last 3 games, Clint.
No, she's been a dangerous forward. Great transition of play too to give her that option. But this is something she's added to her game since she's getting to Swans, Joe, the tackling and forward pressure.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Bella came to us as someone with a lot of raw talent and really good hands and leading patterns, and we've just been able to work really hard with her on that the tackle pressure and finishing her work as well, and her confidence is sky high at the moment.
As Edgley kicks the first goal from 35 metres out, Swan District strike first, 1-2-8 to Subiaco, no score. This is the start that Swan Districts are after this afternoon, Clint. Just reinforcing the authority of this game.
And long deep ball too, which is always puts a heap of pressure on. So we talk about a lot in the female game. It's not inside 50, it's inside 30. And Swan District seem to have got that right this year. And you give yourself far more scoring opportunities when you get that deep.
Swan Districts 8-0. Played the first 5 minutes in this first quarter, all thanks to Kia on this very warm Sunday afternoon here at Steel Blue Oval. Edgley with the first. And that should be in for another big game, this one. At least one goal in every game. Ball's thrown up in the air. Lakai doing the ruck work with Ritchie. Ritchie loses out on that one, but it's rowed brilliantly by Paxito. But the umpire's blown a whistle. It's a free kick. That's going to go the way of Swan Districts.
to Chloe Taylor. So Chloe Taylor, in her second league game, impressive debut last week, found the footy pretty well, highly skilled player, and she'll look to construct here. She's got a couple of little short leads on the wing. She goes out wide now and is able to find Baker. She takes the safety on the far side. Baker back from a knee too. Good start last week and a big chance at playing 19s next weekend as Edwards comes up and hits that ball hard, pulls the ball inside right, tries to half volley with the feet. Little handball is chopped off nicely by Walters of Subiaco. She goes out towards Richards. Sorry, it's Richie, and she's beset upon in a tackle, but she's been touched high on the shoulder, maybe late by Lakay. And Richie will be able to just try and relieve pressure for Subi, but the kick isn't great. Arriving in numbers, Swan Districts. It's Baker clean below the knees. She tries to connect again, but she'll turn over the ball once more in the hands of Subiaco. Coming towards Dowrick now. So Dowrick's pushed this ball in front. Chloe Taylor fronts her. Jamie Henry. Some quality youth from both sides there, but Jamie Henry's been stripped of the footy by Tani Golisano, and that will be holding the ball. Actually, sorry, that's Maddie Wilkins.
Wilkins will take the free kick inside the centre square. Filicamo screaming for it inside the square. Not left with many options. She's just going to boot it long. 2-on-1. Well sport there by Maguire, but out the back. Swan Districts have got the numbers. They're going to move it across the ground now. Swan Districts doing everything to control the game their way. 1-on-1 inside the attacking zone for the Swan Districts. Edgley out the back. Couldn't take the mark. Courtlet. Great play by Courtlet. Standing up in the tackle, but couldn't get past the second. Subiaco now back under pressure. Wilkins hacks that one forward alongside the centre square. Hardy. Hand pass out. Morrison. Sends it long towards half forward. Good play by Harkin. Keeps it out in front. Harkin under pressure immediately from right. Breaking through one tackle. Got the hand pass out. The tackle laid there by Edwards. The umpire will say, give it to me. It's on the attacking side of centre for Swan Districts. Just over 10 minutes to go. Swan Districts 1-2-8. Subiaco yet to score in this Sunday afternoon game. Round 5 WAFLW action. Lakay punches it forward. East inside 30. Under pressure. Gets it back. The hand pass comes out. Taylor in her second game. Just towards the forward zone. Morrison! Morrison from the edge of the kickoff line takes the mark and will kick for Swan District's second goal of the match. So Morrison from point blank range for number 2 for the Black and Whites puts it through. And Swan Districts kicking away in the early going. 2-2-14 to Subiaco, no score. Clint, you'd have to say Swan Districts and Joe Taylor, Swan Districts really kicking away early.
Yeah, look, that was some nice ball movement. It's good to see Chloe Taylor. As Deggers said, she debuted last week and she's got some really good quality possessions today. And Michaela Morrison, in the pre-season for Fremantle, had her appendix burst and spent a fair bit of time in the sick bay. So it's the last 3 weeks, she's just come out with some ripping form. That's her 8th goal now for the season in the last 3 weeks. So
seemed to be trying to pop that kick into Mr. Whippy behind the goals at the far end. I'm sure most of the players out there would enjoy a bit of a cool treat later as we're back in the centre. It's been a ruck change with Amy Ralph coming in to face off with Jessica Ritchie.
I think that's a good change now. Amy Ralph, like Lakay, has got the height to contest with Ritchie.
It is at Filicamo first hands, but she turns it over. We're going to get a restart, I'd suggest, as the umpires swarm in on this. So Ralph, famed defender, very fast player at Swan Districts. Ritchie, good use of the body. Ralph tries to jump over the top. Filicamo, as she is so often so good, she extracts his foot. He goes long towards 50. Called out of it by Buckley, and it was pretty good play in the end. She slips Skinny Osborne. If Buckley has a flying shot from goal, has it got the distance? It doesn't, nor does it have the accuracy, and it's through to the close side for Subiaco's first score. Kira Buckley, nice and aggressive start.
She's got the speed inside the forward 50. She's very quick on her feet when she's got the ball in her hand. And you'd have to agree, Joe Taylor should be one for Swan District's defenders to watch out for.
Oh, look, Kia's always been a quality player, so she's someone that they're going to have to put some time into through the middle there when she's running with the footy.
Excellent smother there by Taylisha Brown on the attacking side of centre for Subiaco. And we're going to have a boundary throw in. Or will we have a free kick? The umpire's just deliberating on that. Will be a boundary throw in. As we zoom in there on Maguire. Bit of a quiet couple of weeks, but looking to get back into form is Taylisha Brown for Subiaco. Numbers all around the football in this boundary throw-in. It's thrown up. No one nominating in the ruck. Players burrowing around the football. Renee goes down low and taken down by Abby Dowrick. in that tackle. We'll have a repeat in proceedings.
Michaela Hyde just said something funny there to Derek as they went past because they both came giggling out of that stoppage.
Thrown in. Richie, beautiful tap to the path of Filicamo. Filicamo couldn't get the sit. Toe pokes it along the ground, but only as far as the defenders for Swan Districts. The ball's released to Anderson. Anderson gets boot to ball. It kicks into space. Subiaco now have got it back in their possession. Walters goes for the chip pass inside 50 into the path of Brown, but Gelmy comes up to meet it, inflicts the turnover. Ralph inside that defensive 50. Henry swings it round on her left foot, and that's a beautiful kick. Eases the pressure for Swan Districts to clear out of that defensive 50.
It's Taylor, long kick down the line. It's going to be met very well by Walter. I haven't seen Walters play, but got her hands on the ball early. I wonder if she's one of the Irish girls that's come down with Rosengrave. She connects with Filicamo neatly. There's a nice build now to Derek. Derek's got a long kick. She directs this, or she tries to direct it towards Hunt, but she's overcooked it. And taking the mark back there is Melisha Hardy. To Maguire. Tries to feed Hyde, who's doing everything she can to touch the footy before it goes out of bounds, but she doesn't get there quite in time, and it's Rosengrave. Talked about her in the first bit. She's not quite sure. She's trying to give it to the umpire, but it's her kick. Rosengrave, standing start. This should preference Maguire, who really in the end tried to hang on Jamie Henry. Henry probably should have turned to help out Maguire there. She's good enough to clean this up through Cox. Cox to Jetta. Nearly Jetta. Good work, Ortlep, trying to fight against one of the best backs in the competition there, Jetta. Hyde. Very good. Finds Ugle Hayward. Ugle Hayward to Ralph. This is what she's good at, running. Drops the ball into the corridor. Should be Walters and Baker. Baker gets a little paddle and dusts Walters off. There's nothing in front of Baker. She can keep on running, have a bounce and have another. She's run down in the end. She lets the ball free by hand. No free kick to Subiaco. Trying to make her way here now is that Stribley. Stribley's come off a wing to the forward pocket. She pulls this around. It's drawing. It hasn't come far enough. It's shallow. Oh, my goodness. I think Baker just ran out of gas.
I'm not sure who it was that put the tackle on Baker there, but I think she might have been a little bit unlucky. That was a great chase down because she had nothing but grass in front of her then. But it was a good follow-up by Tara Stribley there, and she just couldn't quite swing the ball far enough to get it through for a goal.
2-3-15 plays one behind here at Steel Blue Oval. Sunday afternoon as Subiaco get the ball out of that defensive 50. Buckley gets the sit. Is immediately put under pressure by Henry. One-on-one. They go at ground level. Henry wins that one out. But it's almost snatched away there.
One of the most impressive things, Joe, about Jamie Henry is I know she went to ground there, but she went to ground third. She keeps her feet. 15 years old.
She's come into this league team this year and has just been so impressive as a 15-year-old, and she's played on some really key forwards. She has no fear, and as you say, she's so balanced, and she's got a lovely left foot on her as well.
Ball close to the boundary line. Filicamo and Anderson tussling it out, but it's over the line, and it will be thrown in just in front of the main stand here at Steel Blue Oval. Many people keeping a good area of shade to themselves on this 37-degree day. 2-3-15, playing one behind. Subiaco would love to get the next goal with less than 5 minutes to go in this first quarter, thanks to Kia. Winning the first tap out there was Lakai, and Swan Districts again looking for an inside 50 entry. Good balance there by Buckley, but is immediately taken in the tackle, but it's holding on. Advantage will be paid. Subiaco get the ball moving quickly, but the kick is an ordinary one, almost marked by Morrison. Morrison immediately snaps over the shoulder towards a 2-on-1. Big pack of players flying, no mark taken. Here's East, immediately caught, but the umpires also paid a holding on. Advantage is paid. Anderson, the kick goes looking there for Stribley. No, in fact, it's Renee. Renee keeps it out in front. She's got a couple of teammates there in support inside that forward 50, but Subiaco defending brilliantly. A nice tackle being laid on East. And the tackle there was laid by Thorogood. It will be a ball up about 25 metres out from their goal.
Dynamic movement from the Swans. Inside forward 50 now. Jetta doesn't jump in the ruck. We should be able to get the ball out of here through Subiaco. Filicamo chops inside, but it's a safe pass to Golisano. Long handballer over to Rosengrave. In turn to Birchall. Birchall goes along the ground on play. That's not on our list just yet. We'll have to do a bit of research at quarter time. But intercepted by Morrison. She chops it into the forward 50. It's a dirty entry. Should suit Subiaco if they can just manufacture some space. They try to do that through Filicamo. East runs her down. She's taken to the ground with the footy. Finally gets it out. Stribley in and under. Misses Golisano just. Chloe Taylor tries to go in again. Golisano out of the air. Kung Fu fighting. Everybody is down there at the moment. Rosengrave has the footy. Bit of frenetic footy at the top of 50 for Subiaco. Trying to get out, but it's Lauren Osborne. Tries to claim the mark with all of experience to Nanit. Nanit to Cox. No mark, play on. Cox has got a good foot. She shares it back to Gelmy. Gelmy tries to step inside. It's a nice little movement, and she's able to find Morrison at the top of 50. Now, will Morrison play on here or calm down? She's taking a breath at the moment, waiting for the forwards to do the work in front of her. She's got something on offer now. Kick goes towards Anderson, who's one grab overhead.
Magnificent.
Absolutely, almost uncontested. Just floated in, read it best, and took a mark against some of the league's best defenders, Claire Ortlett.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michaela Morrison and Naira Anderson
Yeah.
they seem to be able to find each other on the field. They've played a fair bit of footy together now, but that was a great contested mark there by Naira.
Anderson, she's looking to finish this one. Gets a bit of a stutter start, although Claire Ortlett's jumped over the mark before the play on call. It was a little jump over there, and she's now got a soda from the goal square. So Naira Anderson started this game well. She's had a couple of possessions in the back half of the ground. She's been a link-up player through the middle, but it's hats off to some work from Cox and Osborne in the box that got this ball deep into forward 50 as Anderson kicks her first goal of this match and Swan District's third. And Swannies with all the attacking, I think when it matters most too, because this game is going to be harder and harder to play, 37 degrees here at Steel Blue.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they're also kicking into a decent wind as well, so it's been a really good start there by the Swans. But I've been impressed by Subi's defensive efforts and their ability to link up, bringing the ball out of defence as well. So, you know, I think Subi aren't far off there. They're just missing that one link from their half-forward line, and if they can clean that up, probably in the quarter-time break, then we're on for a pretty good match here.
Beautiful construction of the play to the centre line, and then they're tending just to go a bit longer. So you've just maybe eyes down in the connection in the middle of the box. We can talk about that at quarter time.
Ball's going to be thrown up. We're just about a minute out from quarter time. Lakai and Richie Lakai, big punch out of the centre circle. 2-on-1 in favour of Swan Districts, but Blackmore recovers it for Subiaco. The kick alongside the centre circle. 1-on-1, Wilkins in front. Pressured there by Henry. And Wilkins lays a beautiful tackle, and the ball will be stopped. Umpire says, give it to me. We'll have a ball up. As you mentioned, Clint, Swan District's doing most of the attacking when it mattered, especially when the ball has been inside that forward 50. Lakai, another big punch, only as far as Birchall. Birchall snaps around the corner. They gain about 30 metres. Dowrick, socket off the ground to the path of Blackmore. Blackmore's in front of that one, assisted by Buckley. Buckley breaks through one tackle, hand pass turned over. Swan Districts again with a key. Snapped over the shoulder. 3 Swan Districts around the football, and it's Henry who takes the mark. And now again, Swan Districts are away. They're a bit hesitant there. Here's Brown. Breaks through one, couldn't get the hand pass out. She's caught, gone, holding the ball.
Again, Manana just did enough.
Yeah, she was a bit relaxed in the first instance chasing that ball, so I think she had to follow it up pretty hard there.
There's the siren, and Swan Districts, plenty of attack in that first quarter, and that leaves them with a 20-point lead, 3-3-21 to just 1 behind. Clint and I and Joe will sum up the first quarter right after the break here at Steel Blue Oval on Sunday afternoon football, where it is Swan Districts, the top side on the ladder, leading by 20 points, 3-3-21 to just 1 behind.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Welcome back to Steel Blue Oval on our WAFLW match of the day. Swan Districts leading by 20 points over Subiaco, 3-3-21 to just one behind. Paul Persick and Clint Degebrot with me in the commentary box alongside Joe Taylor providing special comments on this Sunday afternoon. Clint, was all Swan Districts in that opening quarter. They did all of the attacking. The centre clearances were well in their favour. And you'd have to say the forwards are really starting to catch fire as they have been throughout the season so far.
Yeah, I think they're going from inside outside, and I think that's Dancy's plan. They're winning the ball inside and they're going straight outside on that 45-degree angle. Stribley's provided, and then Baker, as they rotated through their wing there, they really provided that outside run. And then obviously it's that middle, it's the front of the box between the box and the 50 connection, and then the deep 30s. I haven't watched Dancy coach. I haven't spent a lot of time with him this year. I have watched him coach. I've worked with him a lot before, but not this year. Is that something that Swans have been really aware of, Joe?
Oh, absolutely. Look, and we probably started it last year where we identified that inside 50s don't mean a lot in female football, so we really wanted to wheel and go at that sort of 60 to 40 and get it in deep 30, where the best scoring opportunities are going to be, whether it's a set shot or it's a crumb. So, you know, it has been a focus to get it in a little bit deeper so that your scoring shots are genuine opportunities to kick goals.
And for Subiaco, I reckon it's, if I'm Michael Farmer, I'm down there saying, let's get it into the hands of Claire Ortlep in the back half, and let's get it to Lara Filacamo in the front of the box. Let's get some short directions, and then we can release those runners through Rosengrove and Birchall. So if Filacamo can up her possession count on the bullseyes through Ortlep's fantastic right foot and the way she reads and controls, I think they can really get some forward 50 constructions.
Oh, definitely, and they've got some good young forwards. You know, we've mentioned Kia Buckley. She's a really good link-up player and uses the ball really well. So if they can get that link through their midfield, and I think Tani Golisano probably running and carrying, and then Lara Filacamo using the ball through the middle there is the way that they're going to get that clean ball forward. You can't can't bomb it in against the Swans' defence. They read the ball too well. They're all very experienced, and they're going to have to lower their eyes and really hit those targets in order to get some good entries.
And that's something we touched upon at the beginning of the game. Subiaco have to control the tempo. They have to go for the short passes, and it's just not working for them at the moment inside that defensive 50. Here are some highlights of that opening term. Swan Districts doing all that attacking. Bella Edgley there with a smile after her first goal. Been in great form, as we mentioned, inside that forward half. Other goals to Michaela Morrison and Naira Anderson, who scored that goal. And that was Morrison, in fact, who scored that goal from that 50-metre penalty. Clint, it's going to be all about for Swan Districts to maintain their intensity at the football. That's what they've been really, really good at across these first 5 games. Those intercept marks, those turnovers from ground level, that's what's been winning them their games as well.
And I think they're enjoying their footy. So last week we saw them come out after half-time, after East Randall got back into the game. They were dancing, they were singing. The S&C coach was dancing. There was a bit of a twerk-off, and then they went out and kicked 6 goals. And I think it's a happy team at Swan Districts at the moment.
Absolutely.
And Swan, that's really good from Dancy too, because he's quite a serious person. So I think he's allowing a little bit of freedom to his experienced players. I think he's learned a lot, as you said, with Joe, with his AFLW experience. So he works really hard to make sure they're happy and healthy. And I think over at Subiaco at the moment, just a little bit of stress. They're a super club. They've been very, very successful, and it's just hard at the moment as they wait for a couple of personnel to come back from injury as well. So, and as their young players start to develop, so it's just a matter of them. And I think you called it before, and you just said it again now. If they can get some control of the ball, they'll start to feel better about themselves.
Oh, absolutely, and it's great to see Abby Darrick back out there today. She is one of those young players that just probably lost her way a little bit in the last 12 to 18 months, so it's good to see her back out there, and she's one of that next generation for Subi, who, let's be honest, have been on the top of our game now for more than 10 years, and they're just in a little bit of a rebuild whilst they wait for some really quality personnel to come back. So, their second half of the year, I think, is going to be outstanding, but they just need to fix up that link up,
so
and they'll be fine.
If it's Ortlep to Filacamo, to Darrick, to Buckley, they're going to score every time.
And they need to. But like we said at the beginning, they've got to make sure that they get inside that forward 50 through control play, through control movement of that football. They did turn it over quite frequently in the later stages during that first quarter. They've got to play it down the line in particular. They can't go direct, because there's still going to be numbers at the back of the football for Swan Districts are plenty, like Nanette Knight, like Gilmy, and also East, who have been fantastic inside that centre rotation.
And Blackmore too has been so good on the wing for the last couple of years for Subi. Just started to find the footy towards the end of that quarter. They can play through her too. It provides an extra string to their bow.
Yeah, and Caitlin Walker's a quality defender for Subi. So, I think if they can get the ball in her hands a little bit, between her and Ortlep, getting it out of that back line becomes a little bit easier if you've got the ball in the right hands.
Had a fair bit of attention on her knee during the quarter time break, Walker. And I don't think she's started on the ground, so she must be in the defensive rotation. So, yeah, she is a very staunch defender, but she likes to be under the footy and then win the wrestle and the ball. And at the moment, Swans are moving the ball in flat and fast.
3-3-21 plays, one behind as we're about to get the second quarter underway here at Steel Blue Oval. Sunday afternoon football. Second quarter is going to be all thanks to Optus. It'll be Amy Ralph and Jessica Ritchie in that first centre contest. And a couple of the young kids as well, just having a bit of a kick at the ground, so we're just having a bit of a later start. Second quarter underway. Can Subiaco strike back, or will Swan Districts continue to kick away? Ralph wins the first tap out, and the ball is literally stopped in its tracks inside that centre circle. We'll have a repeat in proceedings here. Tackle inflicted on Chloe Taylor, only her second game of WAFLW football. Ritchie taps it forward to Filicamo. Ball's at ground level. Filicamo toe pokes it. Quick kick out towards the attacking side of centre for Swan Districts. And the mark's been taken there by Eliza Gelmy. Transfers play across the ground. Bounce unfavourable to Taylor. Possession by Rosengrave. Trickles it forward back to the centre square. Here is Morrison. Hand pass over the top. Again, this is what Swan Districts do, what they do best. Control the tempo their way. But Subiaco will have to get physical if they want to keep themselves in this game. But it was a high tackle against Filicamo. The free kick will go the way of the second gamer, Chloe Taylor, who had a sensational debut last week against East Fremantle. Taylor will send Swan Districts forward. Hasn't got a lot of options, so she's going to have to really boot it long and gain some serious territory. But Fallon's a target. Edgley. No, that's Edwards who couldn't take the mark. Edwards plays it forward towards Ugal Haywood. And the ball is gone over the line for a throw-in. Again, how they transfer play to the outer side, Swan Districts finding open targets inside that attacking zone is really what's working well for them, Clint. Well,
Maguire's weighted ball just forced Baker to run. She just sweated on it and actually handballed where she wanted to go. Much like Jason Ackermanis used to do in the Brisbane Lions days, used to kick the ball to where he wanted his forwards to run. Maguire just as clever. As Ralph takes this out of the ruck, she's got a running shot. The pressure comes. She gets the foot away. Not famous for her kick, but that one will make her feel really good. The ruckman gets a goal through traffic at a stoppage, forward 50. And if you're writing the book, Adam Dancy, that's what you'd want to see happen.
Oh, absolutely. Look, we had Sarah Wilstra's come out of the team today, so it's opened up an opportunity for Amy Ralph to get out of that defensive end and use some of her pace. And she's really strong as well, Amy. So, you know, it's great to see Ralphie get her opportunity in the middle and take it.
Breeze starts to pick up here at Steel Blue Oval. Swan Districts have got the first goal of the second quarter. They go to 4-3-27. Subiaco is still stranded on one behind. They need this next goal if they want to keep themselves back in the game, because the momentum has been all with the black and whites thus far in this game. Back in the centre. Again, it's Ralph. Amazing leap. Wins the first tap. Wilkins hacks it forward. Morrison around the corner. Misses both players, but Stribley regathers. Long hand pass. Ralph trying to get the clean pick up. Loops it over the top. Stribley kept it in front. Goes towards the attacking side of centre east. Great pick up in the air. And then a beautiful tackle by Hunt. Subiaco back under pressure now. Golisano hacks it forward. Gains only 5 metres. Stribley with the intercept. Kicks towards the forward 50. No mark to Birchall. Umpire calls play on. Thorogood tries to spin around the player in Jeddah, but gets caught in a great tackle. And the umpire will say, give it to me. It's about 45 metres out from the Swan Districts goal. We've played 4 minutes in this second quarter, thanks to Optus. Brought forward, Lakai. Subiaco again hack it out of that defensive 50. McIntosh and Brown. Turned over again. Out towards the forward 50. Here's Lakai. Tries to get this hit. She's got the hand pass to an open target. Shoots towards goal from 35, and it's across the face for a behind.
Clever Bella Edgley. Just finding Hyde there. Heidi, she'd back herself to kick that, I reckon, 9 times out of 10, Michaela Hyde. Just have a lamented clash of hands in a fist at the end of that. I think she'd like to get her time back and have a balance there. But, Subiaco forced to defend. The strong breeze. It's Ortleb. And it's again like her sister at Claremont, a fine distributor of the football in the back half. In fact, she could play anywhere. Either of them could play anywhere, to be honest. Be a terrific midfielder if you gave her a chance. All that plays on, goes long, looking for Birchall. It carries her. It's in the hands of Stribley. Her handball goes nowhere in particular. It's in the hands of Subiaco, who try to run the ball down the wing. Lots of swans, lots of one-on-ones, tearing off her play here is Mel Hardy. Terrific from a young player. Her little half volley falls with Taylor. Taylor just lifts it to Edgley, and Edgley runs onto the ball. Chloe Taylor, Edgley handballs the ball on its east. She'll run into open goal, and she kicks it straight over the goal umpire's hat. Dana East, what can't she do? The young player from Manjimup, whose father played 100 games with the East Perth Football Club, and she's finding a real home here at Swan Districts.
Oh, she's just brought something different to our midfield here at Swan. She's a great inside ball winner, but when you get it on the outside, she rarely misses. She's kicked a few goals now this year, and she uses the ball really well. But Chloe Taylor there to Bella Edgley, Mel Hardy off of half-back there.
15-year-old to a 17-year-old to an 18-year-old.
Yep,
the
so,
future is reasonably bright at the Ducks.
It's exciting. But yeah, the way Mel Hardy ran off of her play there, off of half-back at speed, and just trusted that someone else would pick her up. If she missed, it doesn't matter. So, you know, that confidence is just outstanding seeing these young players. And to be honest, Egg, you must be pretty excited for the way they're going to go in Adelaide and the Gold Coast.
I have to say a number of those players will be playing for WA that we just called in Adelaide next week.
Well, there's a free kick inside the centre circle. No, in fact, the umpire's just saying a warning, yes.
So, Lakay just nodding. Are you going to give it to me? You're not going to give it to me? No worries. She's a big smile. Now she'll have a jump.
And time will go on once again. Lakai's back in the ruck. Wins the tap out against Richie. Beautiful tap like lightning. Out towards Jeddah. And the mark taken 75 metres out from goal by Edwards. Edwards is going to send it long, not in the Edgley direction. It's towards a one-on-one. Out the back is Anderson, but the bounce unfavoured. Subiaco with the rebound. Here's Cowie. Hand pass out. Thorogood. Feeds it forward. Ortlip. They need to get it in her hands. Beautiful hand pass over the top to Cowie. High kick towards left half back. And at full stretch. Fine mark taken there for Subiaco. And now they're away. Golisano goes straight down the line. No mark. Umpire calls play on. Henry. Looping hand pass to the path of Richie. Gets it out. Intercepted by Cox. Cox breaks through the tackle. Hyde looks for the hand pass. Right. Catches out Thorogood in a nice tackle. And we'll have ourselves a ball up again.
Do you reckon Claire Ortlep wanted a ball up there?
I think so.
Wrestled to the ground by Danielle Wright. Lakay reaches over the top of Richie this time. It's not Richie, sorry, it's Rust. And the ball's picked up by Darrick, who's immediately beset upon by Rennie and Hyde. So Lakay will get another chance. Rust, haven't seen much of her yet. Taps the ball over nicely. Lakay first to recover. Darrick again providing the pressure. Rust now, fantastic follow-up from a ruckman. Will she get herself a free kick or a restart? She does get a second chance, or a third chance in this case, for a hit-out. Impressive work from Rust. Lakay, powerful athlete, basketball background. Lakay this time does get the ball out, but Golisano can't quite get the foot away, and Anderson swoops on that. Gives a 35-centimetre handball to Michaela Hyde, who was planning on shepherding, and will do it for a fourth time. Blackmore finding the footy at the bottom of this one. Lakay and Rust. I reckon Rust would need a rest from this. Not interested in being jumped all over by Lakay for the rest of the day. It nutmegs Hope Ugle. Lakay in the hands again after Darrick fumbled. Shannon Rennie pulls it around the corner, and now we see what Walker is so good at, which is that intercept mark and spread by foot. On the far side, she's got Walters. It's a terrific kick, and it lands in Walters' lap under pressure from Stribley. She's waiting for a laneway runner. She's got one now. It falls into the hands of Thorogood. Run on Walters, and Thorogood rewards. So Walters had a couple of plays here, looking fine on that far wing. It's a nice build-up from Subiaco again with Walters. She hits it towards Brown. This is great transition play from Subiaco Footy Club, and this is what we've called for. I reckon it's exactly what Michael Farmer asked, and the coaching staff is this kick doesn't go exactly where it's meant to. It's going to favour Walters again. Brown involved. They're on the far side now. Several kicks, a nice block allows this very shallow entry, and unfortunately Cox has backfilled and chested. Great running from the midfield.
From centre half back, Cox stopped Subiaco's transition right in their tracks. She sends it direct. Taylor couldn't take the mark. Partially smothered Richie, and Cox was pushed in the back. It'll be a free kick. It's going to go the way of Taylor, it is, I should say. Chloe Taylor on left half back. It's going to transfer play back to the centre circle towards a 2-on-1. No mark. Off the back is Wright. Well read by Danielle Wright. Snaps it around the corner. Anderson in a 1-on-1. Ortlip. Hand pass out. Walters caught. Gang tackle. Morrison. And it's going to go to the umpire for a ball up. And players shifting back towards that forward 50. One of them is Anderson. We're looking for a second goal. Ugal Haywood on centre half forward. Lakai taps in the Ugal Haywood direction, almost pushed out of it. Intercepted by Corlett. Corlett loops it over the top. Intercepted by Taylor. Hacks it towards the forward 50. Edgley. And here they go once again, Swan Districts. Here they go. The kick out towards a player there in Edwards from 30. Baker it was from 35 metres out and misses.
And she put her hand on her face straight away and did her little embarrassed giggle that she does. Edgley was the player that was creating length there, and wonderful work from a winger to find that space inside forward 50, Joe.
Oh, look, Naomi Baker's just going to grow and grow. She didn't. She obviously missed about 650 days of footy, and this is her second game back. So for her to be running that hard is really exciting for us and for Western Australian footy.
It's gone out of bounds just under us, or just to the left of us here. Blackmore trying very hard, probably had a case to plead about being held onto. Rennie, pressure was good. So Blackmore just working her way into this contest. Darrick on the footy now. Chloe Taylor stands her. It's Ralph in the ruck. Richie swapped with Russ. So Richie gets this down. Finds Darrick. Darrick breaks away. Good use of the handballs. Golisano drives the line. Trying to get under this nicely, or just missing it, in fact, is Subiaco. Back in the hands of Darrick. Ricochets through to Farmer. Under us again, Darrick. Pack collapse. Trying to extract the footy was Dana East. Tackled all the way through to the ground and finished in the back too. And the far umpire says that you can take your kick, Dana East. So East, Swans have got a bit flat here in terms of their ground positioning. Amy Ralph's trying to stretch to the corridor, but the only option is short, and she finds Henry. Now the ground's open up because Wright spread to the corridor. The pressure from Walters at Subiaco chops that off. Jamie Henry just walks around before dropping on the left towards Edwards, who takes a great mark overhead. Play on off hands. Subiaco paid to the catch. The quick kick in should be marked on the chest in the deep back there by Taylor McIntosh. Well done, Subiaco.
McIntosh from centre half back, looking for options. She's got a couple out wide. Been forced to play on. Under pressure from Wright. McIntosh's kick to the path of Walker. Walker keeps it in front. Under pressure. The kick only as far as Wright. But he's going to be beaten to it by Richie. Nice quick hand pass. Birchall. Birchall from outside the defensive 50, and it's immediately turned over. The mark's been taken by Amy Ralph. She's already kicked one goal. She'll be looking for a second, but she's going to be assessing some options now, just trying to find the loose player in that forward 50. One-on-one, but the kick is a disappointing one. Lions all around it. Cortlet marks, plays on. Caught by Morrison as soon as you kicked it. The kick into the path of Brown. Brown gets the sit. Goes past Osborne. Hacks it forward. Disappointing kick. Right. Goes through one. Has a bounce. Sends it towards the forward 50. Towards a 2-on-1. No mark. Baker in front. Well played in the end. The hand pass out to Morrison. Goes back to Renee. The kick to right. Morrison. Here they go again. Swan Districts have got things going. Here's Taylor. Snaps around the corner. It's across the face for a behind. 5-6 playing one behind. Subiaco held scoreless in this second quarter.
5 minutes 15 to play, and it is all Swan Districts at the moment. Caitlin Walker with the kicking duties. She'll play on quickly and find Golisano in the pocket. Golisano's got no one around her, so she's able to play on. Two bounces. Quick succession. Baker puts the pressure on. The kick carries Abby Darrick, who does enough. Oh, she just tugged the jumper just at the end. She did enough to get the ball away from East, but she had a little tug on the jumper of Dana, whose speed has put a pressure on the Subiaco midfielders today. Mess of numbers now inside 50 for the Swan Districts Footy Club. This ball's long towards Anderson at the back. The wind has carried that. Michaela Hyde steps inside. Wonderful. Releases Chloe Taylor. This could be Chloe Taylor's first in league footy. She has time to drop it, turn, and then kick a horrible ball towards the 50. Calamity of mistakes. You're not allowed to say shenanigans unless it truly is, because once you declare shenanigans, things really go crazy. But pretty close. Looked a little bit like the water boy when Coach Winkler was starting to think about, oh, he's dropped the ball. He has time to dust it off and pick it up. Chloe Taylor, nearly first in league footy.
Walters pushes the ball forward to Corlett. Corlett from the defensive 50, and that's a disappointing kick. Osborne was right on target with the mark. Lauren Osborne, who was sensational in that game last week against East Fremantle, continuing to impose her presence in defence for Swan Districts. Proving kick, 3-on-1, no mark. In front there is Morrison. Morrison snaps from 35, and that's a good goal. Michaela Morrison gets her second goal. Swan Districts Again, further pulling away from this matchup. They go to 6-7 to 1 behind. Here is the replay. And again, those players out the back. Morrison front and square in the contest, and a fine snap for goal.
That's bread and butter for Michaela Morrison. That's what we know she can do, and that's what gets Fremantle excited, and she gets onto an AFL list. She just reads the ball so well off the hands of the pack, and to see her, as I said earlier, to really start playing some good footy is exciting for everybody.
And the difficulty here with Swan Districts having scored the goal is it's back in the centre, and Lakay, who's been dominating the ruck today. Richie's very serviceable over the last couple of years.
Well, Lakay and Ruff in particular, you know, they've got a good ruck duo forming in this early stage in the season.
They do. They do play for opposite sides.
Ball back in the centre. Lakay again, big fist on it. Here's Taylor, pushed out of it. Dowrick, good hand pass to Filicamo. Flicks it out. Blackmore under pressure. Looks to toe poke it. Does. It's out of the centre square. Swan Districts have got numbers around the football. Maguire now. Good pick up by Maguire. Caught in a beautiful tackle by Birchall. Hand pass out. Lakay. Caught. Wilkins snatches the ball from ground level. High kick towards a one-on-one. No mark taken. Umpire calls play on. Well kept there by Maguire. Great composure to get that one still on her feet. They gain about 50 metres there. Ugal Haywood breaks through one tackle. Going in the Edgeley direction, no mark, but here comes Hyde off the back of the ball. She looks to get the sit, breaks through one tackle, gets the hand pass out to Chanel Jetta, goes for goal, and she's missed. Good God almighty, from directly in front, has absolutely hooked it.
Cheeky grin from Chanel Jetta. Michaela.
At least she could see the funny side of it.
Gave it to her in a dinner plate. Of course, that was Anderson's transition. Good kick in from Subiaco, looking to build again. Filicamo called out of this one by McIntosh. McIntosh, careful kick is good. Finds Harkin, who bumps off her player and plays on immediately. Shannon Rennie felt that one in the heat. 2 steps inside Lakay. This is fantastic by Harkin. She's had 2 bounces. Looking towards Buckley, who's got the toe if she can gather. She can. She turns, but Henry, clever tackle. Rebound by Buckley again. Looking for that right foot. Henry's got a hold of it. Let's go Buckley again for a third effort. Ends up with Maguire, who just, for all that effort, just pumps the ball 55 metres forward. Edwards. Again, McIntosh pushes her out of the way, looking for Harkin to support. Harkin does. She arrives and is able to, should be able to get this over towards Rosengrave, who's got an absolute paddock. Osborne sweating off her. Stribley providing defence from behind. Osborne now comes and puts pressure on that kick. Gives her defender, Gelmy, a real hand. Cox swooping in. She's done some good defensive work as a back today. Gelmy again, just feeds it through traffic and takes a little high one. And she'll get the chance to set forward. Now the Swans are really well set up. If they come to this side of the ground, they're actually going to go back down the same way. This one's going to go to Rosengrave. Had Baker free on the far side. Back to Filicamo. Double touches it, turns inside. And looks, that's a clever little kick to the outside. But Swans are definitely playing in East Midland at the moment. Sorry, Subiaco are playing in East Midland at the moment.
They are at this stage, but in the meantime, Richie hacks it forward. Mark, beautiful mark.
Lee.
And it is taken there. Dana Lee quickly pushes it towards the top of the goal square. No mark. Umpire calls play on the mark. Looked to have been taken there, but to no avail there. Swan Districts inflict the turnover. The siren's gone. And that further stops the bleeding from Subiaco's point of view, because they are trailing by 43 points. 6-8-44 to 1 behind. The Lions held to no score, while Swan Districts added 3 goals and 5 behinds in that second quarter alone, Clint. It is all Swan Districts at the moment.
It is. I think Adam Dancy will probably ask for a bit of composure in front of goals, but otherwise he'll be quite satisfied with the corner. Joe, you're from inside Swan District, so probably default to you here in terms of what is Dancy going to say now. He's going to be happy, but there's a few things that Swans actually do need to address.
Oh, look, absolutely. I think that, as you mentioned, the composure in front of goal, and probably just not really leading out and spreading well enough in front of goal either. It's been a little bit congested there, and so we haven't seen the good marks and the good lead and mark options that probably have seen from Swans over the last couple of weeks. But also sort of coming off of half back, making sure that we're looking for those options and not kicking the ball back where it came from, and getting it to the outside and really using that run. It's a pretty hot day out there today, so it's a lot to ask the girls to run, but I think across the entire ground, that could use a little bit more composure. Emily Maguire has probably saved the day a couple of times by just zoning off, as we know she does really well, and being able to read that ball, and Lauren Osborne as well. But I think Subi actually played a better quarter that time. Abby Dowrick injected herself into the game, and that's what you want to see from these young players.
I think they'll go into halftime now saying, well, what we did is we controlled the ball really well in inside 50. We controlled the ball well, much better through the box, but it's just our forward 50 entries we've got to continue to tidy up, and even a couple of their forward 50 entries were very good too. So I think for Subiaco, there's a little bit to talk about at half-time, and hopefully we can see them start to control the ball in the front half of the ground as well as they're controlling the ball in the back half of the ground. Obviously, you can't talk them up too much at the moment because it's 14 scoring shots to 1, but there's plenty there for Subiaco to build on in the last half of footy.
Plenty to address for both sides at half-time. 43 points is the difference. 6-8-44 to 1 behind Swan District's lead. We'll be back with the half-time highlights and our special half-time package right after the break here on WAFLW's Match of the Day.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Welcome back to Steel Blue Oval. The margin is 43 points in favour of Swan District, 6-8-44 to just 1 behind in our WAFLW Match of the Day. All thanks to our broadcast partners, the Front Row Screens. As you see, there's some of the little kids just having some fun trying to kick the football into the bin. I know, it's like playing a little bit of around the world back in those days in AFL football. The old VFL back it was in those days. But 43 points the difference, Clint Degerbert with me, Paul Persick, in the commentary box. Swan Districts, they have been known this season for being a hard attacking side, and they're continuing to do that across these first 5 rounds so far, especially with the weapons that they've got inside that forward 50. Morrison, Kedgley, and even Amy Ralph, who was interjected into that forward line a little bit. She's a good utility player, as Amy Ralph.
Yeah, Amy Ralph's a talented footballer, and there's plenty that she can do. And it's great to see. I think Joe said earlier she got a chance today with the omission of Wellstra, or the late withdrawal of Wellstra, to go into the ruck and run around. She's so good on the last line. She doesn't always get a chance up the ground, but her pace and her competitive nature, she's fiercely competitive. But that's bigging up Amy Ralph. But I just want to talk about, is there a more consistent player across the competition than Lauren Osborne?
No, and she's been doing it for nearly 200 games, Deg. She just reads the ball so well, and she is just someone that you can always rely on to make sure that she's going to make a good decision every time.
There's 3 players I love watching each week, and it's because I'm a grumpy old defender. Originally 20, 30 years ago.
Dirty back pocket.
And I love watching Claire Ortlep. I love watching Lauren Osborne, and I love watching Rachel Ortlep as interceptors and distributors of the footy, and their decision making, when to come off and strike, when to hold and battle. And I think Aussie Skinny probably comes off a little more than Ortlep. But no, just love the way they distribute the ball. I love the way they use their feet.
But I also like the way they distribute the ball inside that forward 50, especially when going for goal. You know, watching the Swan Districts a couple of times this season, I've liked the work of Morrison. She's good and composed on her feet. Bella Edgley, who's in her first full season with Swan Districts coming over from East Perth, the reserve side. I like the way she's able to compose herself by foot and by air as well. Takes a couple of good marks. She's been in key passages, as you saw at this mark, just down low on her chest inside that forward 50, and the way she's able to read the play, hand pass to loose targets like that goal to East early in that second quarter in our highlights. It just shows how good that forward combination is, and the forward rotation can only get better as the weeks go on, Joe Taylor.
Yeah, most definitely. And there's a couple of unheralded players that probably do a lot of work down there as well. Shannon Renee's one. She's only come back into the league team in the last couple of weeks, but she'll sacrifice her game every week to make sure that those forward entries happen. And you could probably almost say the same a little bit about Danny Wright out on the wing. She's a really young player. I think she's only 16 years old, but she'll rather than running on, she'll make sure that she's distributing the ball into those forwards and make them look good.
And Clint, that's what's so good about this Swan District side. They're able to play a fast tempo game while at the same time dishing out the ball to fellow teammates to open up the play even further inside that forward 50. Subiaco, I found in that first half, tried to play a little bit too direct. Yes, they had to control the tempo, control distribution of the football, but they're just kicking to those 2-on-1s when they don't need to. We saw late in that second quarter, and you called it brilliantly here, that passage from the outer wing in transition, only wasted by that inboard kick inside that forward 50.
Some live pictures there of someone just cooling off in the shade. Finally hit that Mr. Whippy van. Got all that shade to themselves. I think you said that during the call. You're absolutely right. They've had to go to East Midland a couple of times to transition the football. I think it's perceived pressure, and we see about players going to safety modes at the moment. The halfbacks, I think towards the end of the quarter, the halfbacks started to run again. Jamie Harkin really took them on. But when you're faced with massive amounts of pressure, you get really conservative. You go into self-preservation mode, and you just drive the ball just wherever you're facing. And I think Subi have got to take a breath and start to construct their exits again.
And that's what they can do in this second half. They are 43 points behind, 6-8 to 1 behind. Now, thanks to Kia, let's take a look at the work of WA Female State Academy coach Beau McDonald. He's been conducting to strengthen the talent pathway for female football in Western Australia.
Family. The girls went to netball on Saturday and the boys went down to Bassendean Oval and we watched Swan Districts. My uncle's a Gary Sidebottom. He played over 100 games at Swan Districts. My pop Wally Sidebottom played state football and also for Swan Districts. I didn't play football for year 12 at the Upper Swan Junior Footy Club. I went down there in year 12 and played in the under 18s, and I found myself at Swan Districts Colts the next year, and then the year after that I was lucky enough to make it to the Brisbane Lions. In 2001, I think to be part of history was fantastic. I really remember getting a handball out to Bossy when he's kicked that goal from the boundary line, and I remember pushing over the contest. I think John Barnes was my opponent. When I seen Bossy flash past, I remember giving him the handball and sort of folding in behind him, and I was directly behind him. He's kicked the ball and it's just gone through, and I remember running back to the centre thinking, this isn't over. This is such a good football team we're playing against. There was no room to relax until that siren went.
And they've beaten the champs.
When I retired in 2008, I spent some time at the Brisbane Lions, assistant coaching role, worked behind the scenes in some welfare roles and some ruck coaching. I was there for 3 years, but then I moved to the Pilbara. I worked with young Indigenous males up there, trying to get them to go to school and helping them out with their lives. And then I got the opportunity to coach the Northwest Academy through the West Australian Football Commission, and I started to really enjoy coaching that young group, and I felt like I had a responsibility to give kids the opportunity that I had. I enjoyed my time coaching in the country, but getting back into high performance was what I really wanted to do, and the opportunity was there in female football. And I moved down to Perth to be involved in the female talent pathway to coach under 18 state girls.
Beau's application really stood out to us because of his experience in the coaching world. So it wasn't so much that he'd played AFL, in fact that's limited to it. It's his ability to connect one-on-one with people. He knew what it took to play and coach at the highest level. He'd worked at community level in Aboriginal and community engagement, so we knew he was the right package to move a group of people from where they were to where they needed to be.
The girls are, they're a joy to coach. We're really just there to give them the best opportunity, that if you get that call up to the AFLW, you can do your best when you get there.
He understands that each player needs to make their own progressions. So what drives him forward is driving a player forward. His ability to move a player with their understandings through the developmental stages and pathways would be his best attribute. We're really lucky to have support of fantastic sponsors like Kia, because they allow us to drive the game forward. Bo's been able to really drive female football, and our staff love driving the Kia cars. We've got staff that have since bought their own Kia cars as well, which is terrific. To have Kia as a sponsor to allow us to card our people, our equipment, and to basically power and drive what we're doing inside female football is terrific.
We're trying to drive a culture here within our academy group. We also want to produce WAFLW players and good community members and people that go back and give in some way to the community. And let the girls know that you know, whether they go on in their football or they go into a workplace, all these things that we're trying to instill in our culture here, they're transferable to the next place that you go, and it's just all part of being a good person.
Bo McDonald there, superstar with the Brisbane Lions in that 2001 Premiership winning side. He's been conducting to strengthen the talent pathway for female football in WA. My goodness, there have been some sensational talents that he has worked with over the years. We're going to take a break, and when we do come back, all the second half action here at Steel Blue Oval, where it is Swan Districts with a big lead of 43 points over Subiaco, 6-8 to 1 behind.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
You're back with us at Steel Blue Oval. We're not far away from the second half getting underway on Sunday afternoon football. Round 5 of the WAFLW season. Swan Districts and Subiaco. And it is Swans leading by 43 points, 6-8-44 to just 1 behind. Goal kickers for Swan Districts only. Only Swan Districts have been scoring the goals. East, Anderson, Ralph and Edgeley have scored single goals, while the only multiple goal kicker, Michaela Morrison, she has scored 2 goals for Swan Districts. Subiaco, they need to get on the scoreboard, Clinton. They need to quickly with those factors that we mentioned during the half-time break. It's going to be all about how they approach that second half. They try to control the tempo of the game with, slow distribution of the ball from the defensive 50. That didn't work. What will Michael Farmer be saying to the players ahead of this second half?
Well, Farms is a good footy brain, and he's a very calm person, and he's a decent communicator. I imagine he'll just be sticking to going back to what they tried to do in the first quarter, and then tried to repeat in the second, and their planning during the week won't change. You're playing against a dynamic running side. If we get the ball off, and we need to slow the game down. I think he'll just be reiterating that. We've got to practice our game and just continue to build our season, wait for our reinforcements to come back, and then just be in a good place when they do.
Yeah, look, and I thought in that second quarter in particular, Lara Filicamo probably faded out of the game, but Abby Darrick stepped up in that sort of role. So if they can get both of those girls working through the midfield in tandem, along with, Jamie Harkin started running off of the half-back line, that they've got the foundations there to get some good score on the board in this second half. They do have what is traditionally the scoring end at Steel Blue. It's not only the wind, but all the scoring's always at this end of the ground. So hopefully they can take advantage of that.
Now, even though it's a 37-degree day, there is still a decent breeze blowing over here at Steel Blue Oval. That will affect the goal kicking a little bit, as it already has in this first half. 8 behind Swan District scored, including a string of 3 straight. And maybe it would have been about 50 points ahead in hindsight, Clint. But Swan District still got that powerful lead. And a good running side, you touched upon this, that midfield and forward tandem is working very well, as it has done across the season so far. I mean, you're talking along the likes of Wright, even Osborne, who pushed up into the midfield a little bit to make those key intercept marks. They are a good side that can play in tandem anywhere.
Oh, absolutely. I think he could drop the board. He could drop the magnets on the ground and put them on randomly, and the Swans would be able to connect, because Maguire can play forward and Osborne's played in the midfield before, and those youngsters will play wherever they're told to play. They're a new breed of footballer, the Wrights and the Taylors and the Striblies. You put them somewhere and off they go.
First half highlights here on your screens right now. Joe Taylor, what is going to be the key for Subiaco if they want to counter this momentum along that we mentioned, that they've got to control the tempo their way? They've also got to maintain clean possession of the football from defence, and that hasn't been an easy task for Subiaco, not just today, but also all the season. They've got to get the ball into the hands of the likes of Thorogood and Ortlip if they are to have any chance.
Yeah, look, and I think is it Walker out there on the wing? I think she's actually provided some really, really good link up for them. I think what's important for Subi is, yeah, they want to get the ball on the outside, but they do need to, on the inside, probably fight a little bit harder, because Swan's game is to win it on the inside and then move it out. So they just need to probably, at the coalface, try and win a little bit more of the ball. And I actually think that their link-up play from half back through the wings and through the midfield has been pretty good in patches today. And it's just that hit up to their forwards, and they started to do that at the end of that second quarter. So if they can just persist, it'll start to click. And, it's tough. Swans have got the likes of Jess Cox in the middle, who we don't talk about, but she probably wins more clearances than anyone else in there. So there's a lot of unheralded players in there.
She gets her hands on it and then flips the ball quickly, so you don't get a big chance to talk about Jess Cox, but she distributes the ball to runners really well.
Yeah, and she's worked really hard. Jess has been with us now for a few years, and she was in a State 18s program when she was younger, and her work rate wasn't great. And she took that feedback on, and she's gone away in the last 2 pre-seasons and got herself right, and she can now run all day, which is really important. And and I think that's also something that the Swans do well. Hannah Hong, who's come across to us in the last couple of years, has got the girls really fit. So they move the ball fast, but they're actually all really able to keep moving across the ground for the game.
And they're dancing over in their huddle again. So they come in, they have a little dance, and there's cheering and clapping and laughing. And you can see now we've got the shots of it, and you might see something that you won't unsee in a moment from the Swannies. But it's a different way. It's a challenging way to males and males that come into female football, but a happy and healthy group that's not too serious is a team that's concentrating, and a team that's really quiet and concentrating is a very stressed team. If you had Colt Swans boys doing that at quarter time, you'd be really concerned.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Peter Hodell's up there in the
here they go again.
in the Bonnet Swans bar up there, and if he saw the league men's team doing this before the third quarter started, he probably would wonder what's going on. But these girls, they're able to flip the switch, and this keeps them
surprise.
calm.
Girls are different to boys.
Yeah, people are learning. People are learning, but this keeps them calm, and then they'll go out there and they'll refocus, because they've had that little bit of a letdown, and able to just free your mind, and then you go out there and then you just switch back on. So it's something that the coaches have identified as a way to get them going.
A little bit of Nutbush City Limits going there, I'd reckon, in the circle during half-time.
I think that's what happens. I think they go through a couple of different songs, a couple of different dances. Last week, off camera, there were some really interesting moves from a couple of the players that that wasn't Nutbush, put it that way.
No, we did use Nutbush a fair bit through the pre-season as a warm-up, though. So yeah, it's a good vibe at the moment.
It was much more Latin. The one I'm describing is more Latin, I think.
Yeah.
But it's good to maintain that team chemistry, get some gelling together, and refocus for that second half. And it's impressive what Adam Dancy and the Swan Districts are doing. Players are getting themselves back into position now. 6-8-44 plays one behind. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Clint. For both sides, who's going to be that number one key in that second half?
Well, I think Lara Filakama is the key. She's joined by Abby Dowrick in the middle now. Jess Ritchie's been very serviceable in the ruck again today. But I think it's, for me, it's Ortlap and Walker into the hands of Filakama and Dowrick, and then connecting long ball forward. So what they're missing at the moment is that connection 75 metres out, which gives them a chance to go to 40 or even 35. And that's what we're looking for. Who can be that player? Birchall can be that player at the front of the box, and Golisano.
Second half about to get underway. First goal will be essential for both sides. Swan Districts aiming for 5 wins in a row. Subiaco desperate to get another one to keep their top 4 hopes alive. Lakai gets the first tap out. No, it's Ralph it was, I should say. Turned over. Ritchie puts boot to ball outside the centre square. Good work at ground level by Cox. Gets caught in a beautiful tackle. Rosengrave stops Cox in her tracks. And we'll have a ball up just in front of our commentary position here. Ralph underneath the football, gets the tap out. Dowrick, again, stopped in her tracks. This time, Cox, down level, down at ground level. She's gone, holding the ball. And Subiaco will get that all-important entry into that forward 50. Wilkins, can she connect? It's got the ball. Transfers play inboard, and that is a disappointing kick. And it falls into the arms. One of the stars for Swan District so far, Militia Hardy. And that's a beautiful kick across the ground, finding Edgley, who's pushed back. Edgley plays the ball down the line, no mark to East. And in front there was, wow, brilliant play there by Swan Districts. They send it back to Edgley. Changes direction. Was into the path of Edgley, couldn't take the mark. Clever toe poke by Edgley. Ralph misses it, overruns it, but the hand pass comes out to Cox. Morrison's in front. No mark. Umpire calls play on. Morrison looking for the sit. But that's great defending there by Subiaco. That's Pasido. And it was a quick mark taken in the end there by Claire Ortler. Get the ball into her hands and she'll become an effective weapon in defence. That's a long kick across the ground. Pass out to Blackmore. Blackmore continues the ball moving. Over the top there goes Hardy with the spoil. No mark. Hardy looking for a good second effort here against Brown. Lays a strong tackle on the Subiaco number 32. And we'll have ourselves a ball up again. Like we said at the beginning of that third quarter, and that third quarter, by the way, thanks to Simply Energy, if you get the ball in Ortlap's hands, she reads the play brilliantly and can set up Subiaco in transition. And
Blackmore as well. Very, very handy winger. Tony Tester just struggling to get into the game at the moment, but she could explode at any stage as Claire Ortlap just gets a little tap on the foot. Is that Hope Ugle? Just going the wrong way. Blackmore again on the far side. Number 8 for Subiaco. Impressive season last year. Filakamo, spoiling her was Baker. Good courage and control. She gets a shove in the side from Filakamo, and both players just walk. She just stands up, and then Filakamo flips over the top to in the path of Ritchie. She's run down by Ralph. Great handball across. Just doesn't quite connect. Ralph's able to put some pressure on again. Ball bouncing around. Looks like Jamie Henry. She handballed inside, but it's okay. In the hands of Ralph, who's spun as she kicks towards the line. Blackmore first arrived. Baker the pressure, and East fronted by East. She runs it over.
In fact, it's a free kick. Will go the way of Blackmore from the boundary line.
Must have been out earlier. It's actually going across to Dana East.
Dana East. Well, it looked as though Blackmore was going to take the kick, but it is going to be Dana East who brings the ball back into play for Swan Districts. An effective kick. No mark taken. It was Lee who was in front, and it's a free kick. It'll go the way of the Lions. And this will be a big chance for Subiaco. Walters is roaming free inside that forward 50. Does she go in the Walters direction? No, she doesn't. Goes Filakamo. Breaks through one tackle. Puts boot to ball inside forward 50. Over the top. Great mark running back by Jamie Henry for Swan Districts. That was a fine mark running back with a fly to the ball. And she'll recover it for Swan Districts. And now they're away. Transferring the play across the ground. Here's Hyde. Quick kick to the path of Lakai, who takes the mark. From left half back. Immediately releases it. Edwards, big crash, no mark taken. Walters is down, struggling to get up. She's still down on all fours there. Ball still at ground level. Darrick stopped in her tracks there, Hardy, this time. Almost looked like a throw, and in fact, it's holding on. It'll be a free kick. That'll go the way of Swan Districts. It'll be Stribley who will take the free kick on the defensive side of centre.
Sarah Stribley, been an interesting battle between Darrick and Cox to start this quarter. Living in each other's pockets just at the moment. Stribley to Jess Ritchie, can't complete the catch, bit of pressure from Edgley, flips inside to Cowie, onto Lara Filakama, who leaves it behind. Finds it again, just searching for a runner, inside out handball to Darrick. She instinctively knew that Walters was stalking. Walters fumbles, and the pressure comes to her now. 3 Swans attack her. Chloe Taylor to Lakay, loses it straight away to Golisano. Darrick at ground level, and Hyde with her, and the players start to pile in and in. The umpire will sort it out.
I think Joe can agree with me on this, that Swan Districts are doing the basics a little bit more effectively at this stage than Subiaco. Subiaco just need to nail the basics down a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. But Subiaco's pressure at the start of this third quarter has really ramped up. They've been impressive for the first 5 minutes of the quarter.
So Lakay to Baker, finds Morris and Edgley over the top. Harkin has got some depth and is able to safety this one. Plays on quickly, Edgley the pressure. Ball goes wide outside, searching for Corlett. It's Testa. Will it bounce for Testa? It doesn't again. She's had a rough start. She does now. Testa goes long. It's the first time she's had the best of Mel Hardy. Skinny in a great spot there. Osborne, that is. Lakay running back towards the goal. Off the ground. Wonderful work from the Subiaco Lions from Rust. And it's Hunt now. Hunt has a shot from the top of the square. How will it bounce? Oh, was it touched? I think it's gone through. It's touched. Rust. What a beautiful soccer attempt from Hunt. Great pressure from Rust to get that 40 entry. But it's Aussie now, Osborne, hitting Baker to give the Swans a chance to reset.
Baker from right half back. Hasn't got plenty of options, so she's going to have to send it down the line. And a beautiful mark taken there by Militia Hardy. Hardy forced to play on. Again goes down the line. 2 Swan Districts at the back of the ball. They had the numbers. East was one of them and takes the mark. Moves it on immediately. Goes across the ground to a one-on-one. Gelmy takes the mark. And again, they're playing it to the outer side, which is what they did so well in that first half. Nanit looks to go by foot over the top. 2 Swan Districts there. Where was the communication? Now here's Hyde. Hyde hand pass at ground level. Intercepted by Lee. Back and forth now they go. Nanit gets it back. The kick towards right half forward. Edgley with the spoil. No mark. Lee flicks it back. Here's Nanit again. Goes for their hand pass. Hyde. And now they're doing everything they can, Swan Districts, to get themselves out of this Subiaco pressure. They're getting the pressure done tremendously well here, Subiaco, forcing those turnovers and those repeat inside 50 entries essential. The kick just over the top of Stribley. Osborne overruns it. Nanit releases Lackey. Lakay it is, I should say. Maguire at ground level. An absolute bulldog going for the football. The kick over the top, finding Hunt. Not a lot of targets presenting for Subiaco except one. She's going to go on the Cortlet direction. Inside centre forward. Cortlet takes the mark. Plays on from 25 metres out. Goes for goal and puts it through. Subiaco's first goal. Hayley Cortlet finally gets the Lions on the board. Just reward for the pressure they exhibited in the first 8 minutes of this third quarter.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and their transition play was really good then, and that's what we've been talking about. Swans would probably want that 30 seconds back where they just sort of, looked at each other and let the ball go. But good on Subi there. They've swept in there and really taken advantage of their dominance around the pressure. I think they've really brought the pressure around the ball at the start of this quarter.
And it was good vision by Hunt too to read the lead from Cortlet, go for the well-weighted kick over the top, and it was weighted enough for Cortlet to take the mark, took the risk and played on immediately, and went for a good goal. Well-deserved goal, in fact, for that effort in the last 8 minutes from 25 metres out. Clint, Subiaco still in with a chance.
Well, it was a third deep entry too, wasn't it? So there was a ripper from Hunt, and yeah, as you said, good call on Cortlet. Yeah, just flipping that over now. So.
The Rucks have just got themselves on the wrong side there.
So Ralph's just made a little apologetic smile, but Jess Ritchie, far more experienced in the ruck than Ralph, has been able to sort that out. Ralph jumps, Ritchie, good control down. Filakamo swoops on this, loves to play this way. A little kick towards Testa. She's got Gelmy for company, my apologies. Little tug's been a paid advantage to Renee. Renee looks for Edgley, who's presented up well today. Goes through her hands and finds Cowie, wrapping behind as a winger should. Blackmore Richie asked her to do a ton of work in the middle. She's fallen on the footy, and Rennie, I used to call her Rennie. It is Renee. Shannon Renee has fallen on top of her. Restart. Richie, lucky to get away with it. She'll face Ralph again. Good body work, Richie. Hand down to her again. Jess Cox reads it best. Slips the Blackmore pressure. Harkin provides the anchor and the distribution to Blackmore. Like this build-up, the Hides come from the bench. Has provided a bit of extra pressure that no one was ready. In the middle of the box, Filacamo. So Subiaco starting to get their game going now. Filacamo loves to work within the extended square. She finds Golisano at the front of the box. This is what we called for. Michael Farmer has constructed something nice. She plays on now Golisano. Taylor can't get to her through good pressure from the shepherd there with Golisano. Little high touch on the shoulder, and Kia Buckley's got a chance to play this to Hunt. The umpire will say you can't be that close to the mark. So we're back with Kia Buckley. Kia Buckley's kick should be able to float this up towards the top of the square. Hunt's gone short, and Hunt's going to get it. Kia Buckley lowered the vision, and Hunt's a good shot for goal. Well done to Kia Buckley to keep her cool at the top of 50.
Last couple of minutes for Amy Hunt have been very, very good. You know, not only setting up that goal to Hayley Corlett, but she's going to get one herself. Good lead into space inside that forward 50. If she can kick this next goal, there may be a few headaches.
Well, look, Subi have just been able to spread their forwards in this quarter and really spread the Swan District's defence, who aren't used to that.
So Hunt, deliberate approach. Noted goal kicker. Doesn't quite get all of this one. It goes out of bounds on the full. So we're not going to talk too much about the disappointing miss of that wonderful construction of play. Filacama in the front of the box. Golisano bringing the ball in. Kia Buckley providing the link up, and then little smart drop of the vision there. Was able to connect with Hunt. Good play.
So Swan Districts will now have a chance to set things up. Osborne, inside defensive 50, goes down the line in the Stribley direction and takes a good mark. On left half back, elects to play on, goes through one. That's great movement by Stribley. Sends it down the line in front of our commentary position. Good spoil by Anderson. In front there, McIntosh. Over the top, good hand pass, Rosengrave. Gets boot to ball, marked by Birchall. Plays on, she's looking for Hunt inside the forward 50. Stay down in that contest. It's 1-on-1 between her and Maguire. Misread the bounce, did Maguire. Hunt looking for the hand pass out in front. Here's Lee, trying to get a snap in. Releases back to Hunt, but Maguire, good pick up by Maguire. She's good with the one hand. And transfers the play back to the position of left half back, which is near in front of our commentary position. 1-on-1, no mark taken by Rust. Well read by Stribley again. In fact, that's East, I should say. Gets the kick away as soon as she was tackled. Overrunning it there was Lakai, and Subiaco again looking to pile on the pressure. The hand pass comes to Birchall inside that forward 50. The kick disappointing. Well read by Osborne. Gets the hand pass out over the top. Here's Cox inside that defensive 50. Releases the ball out to find Wright, who was in front there. 1-on-1 there with Harkin. Harkin lays a beautiful strong tackle. Good second effort by Harkin, but gets stopped in her tracks again by Wright. Dribbles the ball forward. Here's Lee. Snap around the corner towards a 1-on-1. Nannet couldn't take the mark. Birchall soccers it forward. And now Subiaco, they've got the numbers up forward. The kick towards goal. And that is nothing but nothing. Out of bounds on the full. And Maguire will take the free kick. Again, good construction of play, Clint, but with no reward.
Yeah, it's really starting to attack and own that front half of the box, which is starting to provide some shots. It's really struggling to get the ball out of 52 here is Subiaco, and Kia Buckley's intercepted the Maguire kick. Wants to move it on quickly. She keeps her vision down, gives a bit of a chance to Hunt. Hunt steps inside, fake to go to Filacamo, steps inside and misses. Lovely work, Hunt, just didn't finish off on that terrific work. Filacamo, of course, drew a crowd. Such a quality player. Just couldn't quite finish it, and we're going to have a second chance. And I don't think Lauren Osborne will make the same mistake twice in a row. Very efficient by foot. So she's looking to build now. Swans need to exit their 50. Pressure and the phase build-up pressure from Subi's terrific. Tumble punt favours. Jamie Henry looked like Russ was going to get in there, but Henry's able to take the chest mark. So she gets a chance just to set the play up forward. She tries to give a little one to Hyde. Nearly below the knees, Hyde. Half volley from Renee was good. In towards Hyde again. She good enough to hold it. Melisha Hardy doing some work. Intercept from Russ was good. Back in Melisha Hardy's hands. She steps inside, feigns a handball towards Lauren Osborne, and then drives down the line to hit East. And East takes an uncontested mark in front of Rosengrave. Corridor opens up a little. She misses her intended target. Intercepting Caitlin Walker, wonderful. And she'll get a chance to put him forward again. The pace of Kia Buckley should worry Gelmy here. But little handball over the head was okay by Maguire. Well read again by Buckley. She shrugs the tackle, trying to get the ball to Hunt, but the 2v1 from both Gelmy and Maguire is strong. Buckley can't find a corridor runner. It's Birchall now overruns the ball. Some tired bodies around this. Maguire should have the nous to tie this up and get a restart. Well, all really good there for Subiaco. And the fierce tackle, Joe, of the pressure of Gelmy and Maguire on Buckley was enough.
Yeah, but the second effort there of Kia Buckley was just was outstanding. She just didn't give up on it, but just couldn't get that corridor runner to get that easy shot on goal.
Buckley in front. Can't get any further. The tackle put on by Maguire, and we'll have ourselves another ball up. Inside 3.5 minutes to go this third quarter, thanks to Simply Energy. The ball is on Subiaco's forward 50. Another goal here, and maybe they'd be starting to think of a comeback. Swan District's been held scoreless in this third term. Picked up by Filicamo. Will not go anywhere further, however. They were dragged back by about 5 metres. Edwards now being sent to the bench in front of me. She's going to have a bit of a spell. And Bella Edgley will be coming back on inside that forward half. Meanwhile, it's holding the ball. Dragged it in, according to the umpire. And the free kick will go the way of Subiaco. And it'll be Jamie Rust who will take the free kick from about 45 metres out directly in front. Buckley's calling it inside that forward 50, but she's going to back herself in his Rust. She's going to go for it. It's a long kick from 45, and it's across the face for a behind. 1-4-10 Subiaco, Swan District 6-8-44. Subiaco doing everything they can to lock the ball inside that forward 50, but they have not been rewarded in the last 3 minutes on the scoreboard.
Lauren Osborne plays on into the game, looking for Gelmy. A better kick, still falls short though. Might be able to create the overlap. Hard running by Osborne does. Looking towards Anderson and or Renee. Falls in between those two players. Allows the defence from Subiaco to put some pressure on. Stepping inside Filicamo was Mel Hardy. Releases the running ruckman in Lakay. Lakay to Walker. She's come alive this quarter. Run down was fantastic from Hope Ugle-Hayward. Overrunning the ball there was Edgley. Running onto it is Jetta. Jetta should step inside as she does. She's going to look to get onto that right foot. She has a bounce now. Crossing 50. She is a long ball. It's into a strong breeze. Swans, they part in front of her. She ends up with a rolling handball. Called a throw. And she just had too many options, I think, in that situation. Just got a little trapped on who to give the ball to. But lovely to see such a young player take the game on like that.
Oh, absolutely. Chanel played one game of league footy last year, so she just got a little bit excited there, I think, and didn't really know what to do and probably wanted to kick the goal.
Thorogood has been a good defender down there. She's curbed the influence of Morrison, and her distribution in this case is very good. Swans have got a great build-up of the field, but it's Thorogood again. That'll take a mark under some pressure from Taylor, who missed the body there. Thorogood again is able to release to the far side to the run of Tyler McIntosh. She tries to connect over the top with Ritchie, carries over her into the hands of Maguire again. Maguire doesn't change directions this time. The kick's intercepted by Birchall and it hits the chest of Rosengrave, but she fumbles it. Little tap behind, it's in the hands of Maguire. Hands off to Gelmy, to Osborne. Lakay's posted up down the line nicely as a ruckman. She turns now and goes long. Good ricochet, or good smother from Birchall. Back in the hands of Lakay, she'll get a second chance. Osborne will step inside and drives that ball long. Edgley has to provide a contest here against two. She does so. Moving so well is Claire Ortlep, and she's able to backfeed to support in Thorogood. Thorogood, again, trying to release this footy. Plenty of Subiaco numbers. Doesn't bounce well for anyone, but Golisano manages to collar it, but she turns over to Hyde. Hyde gets a chance to build. Fast play now for Swans. Ball drops over to Rennie. She's run on really nicely. Shannon, she should step inside Derek. She does. Gives it to Hardy. But the siren sounds as the Swans' first real promising build-up started to establish as they started to go from fast to slow. Swannies looked to change gears there, but all Subiaco in that quarter. They peppered the scoreboard. They managed another 4 shots, but weren't able to register their second snagger.
I'd have to say Subiaco would have about 3 or 4 goals on the board if they did convert from inside that 50. Their construction of play was so good. They were able to hit targets inside that 450. And Joe, you'd have to say Swan Districts did look a bit rattled in that third quarter. If they kicked those 3 goals, then maybe Subiaco would have gotten back into the game.
Oh, yeah, look, absolutely. And I think it might have been a coaching move of Claire Oilep onto Naira Anderson. Naira in that first half was a really good link-up player, and I did notice that Claire stuck pretty close to her in that quarter, and we know she's an amazing defender, but she just really, and it slowed that transition, and we saw that Swans just couldn't get the ball out of that back half.
Subiaco with a lot to do in this final term. They trail by 34 points as we head into the last here at Steel Blue Oval on our WAFLW match of the day. Swan District 6-8-44 plays Subiaco 1-4-10. Back with the last term after this.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
One more quarter to go here at Steel Blue Oval, and despite the Subiaco Lions getting briefly back into the game with repeat 50 entries, it is still Swan Districts leading by 34 points. 6-8-44 plays 1-4-10. Paul Persick, Clint Degebrot and Joe Taylor with me in the commentary box. We'll start with you, Joe. Swan Districts, they weren't able to get any entries inside that forward 50 for much of that third quarter. Were they able to? Can they be able to curb the pressure that Subiaco may set on them in this fourth and final term? Because Subiaco, with that goal, they're sort of back in the game, but they still need a lot of work.
Yeah, look, I think Adam Dancy and probably Matt Riggio down there with the midfielders, he'll do some work on getting that ball back to the outside. Subi were able to just win the ball, as we said, at the coalface there, and they were the ones that were able to get to the outside. And rather than blasting, which is what they were doing in the first half, they really used their link-up players. You know, Lara Filicamo, Tani Golisano. I thought Ellie Blackmore was good out on the wing, and they lowered their eyes and started to run the ball. Caitlin Walker took a couple of good, really good intercept marks across half-back, and when she gets it on the fly, you know, she moves well. So I thought Subi probably structured up a lot better in that quarter, and they just lowered their eyes and used their own strengths.
One player on that same radar, as I bring Clint back into this, is Amy Hunt. You know, she's been a big weapon inside that forward 50 in this third quarter. When she really wanted to get Subiaco back into the game, she was not just able to set up a fine goal by Hayley Corlett, but she was able to earn a couple of opportunities herself. With the read of the play, she's a good leader inside that forward 50, and she can get herself into open space inside that forward 50 when the ball is in Subiaco's territory.
Yeah, I think that comes from having the ball in at 40 where she does her best work. I don't think it favours her to have the ball at 60 at all. She needs to be within sort of, if she's within 30 or 40, she's very, very constructive and dangerous by foot. So it's just a matter of Subiaco continuing to feed that ball into that area. And as I said, playing through the players that Joe outlined and into Buckley, gets that ball to that 30 metres out where she can really do some work. I've been super impressed by Thorogood again. I'm a fan. I'm a Thorogood fan. And Orlep too, I think you called. She was very good on Anderson. I think Thorogood was very good on Morrison too. So two very creative players that work very well together. Probably blanketed in that quarter.
Yeah, definitely. They'll want to go to work again in this last quarter and break those tags, because you know that's the challenge for this young Swans team. You know, Chloe Taylor through the middle. Now it's her challenge to step back up to Lara Filicamo, and it's Naira's challenge now to step up to Claire Ortlep and to be able to play through that and go to the next level.
As we zoom out from that magnetic board that the Swan Districts coaches are holding, looks like Edgley's going to go back up to full forward, and also Maguire's going to stay out back with Lauren Osborne. I think we're speaking of Maguire and Osborne. What a backline combination they have been today. Maguire getting some vital pickups and also those key intercept possessions when Subiaco were going very deep inside that forward 50. If you keep Maguire and Osborne at fullback waiting to go for those intercept possessions, I reckon that's going to cause a bit of headaches for Subiaco.
Oh, most definitely. And look, and we mentioned earlier in the call that Amy Ralph has moved up the field into the ruck today, and I actually think the Swans have really missed her run out of the back line. She's been a backline player now for 5 or 6 years, and she just gets it and she breaks the line. And she doesn't have a pretty kick, but she will always get that sort of 70-metre gain because she'll run her full measure. So I think that Swans probably need to find someone else. It might be a Mel Hardy, who's a good user of the football and a good runner. So just adjusting to not having Amy Ralph back there has probably hurt Em Maguire and Lauren Osborne a little bit today, because they're still winning their fair share of the ball. They're just not able to move the ball out so fluidly. And
you mentioned Osborne and Maguire, Paul. Now, they'd both be pretty grumpy with that quarter because they couldn't get a break. They're very experienced, and I think you're allowed to be a little grumpy when you're very experienced, and they won't be happy with the way that they exited the forward 50. They'll be a little bit annoyed, and they'll be very constructive with the team, but I'd suggest we'll see some midfielders, sort of defence midfield connections in this quarter, just to correct that little sort of how Subiaco were able to continue to build pressure on the backs.
Final quarter about to get underway as you see some of the Swan Districts players getting back into position. Namely there, Hugo Hayward, and also Cox and Morrison. Morrison held to 2 goals since the start of the second half. And that move by Michael Farmer to put Ortlep on Morrison has really affected the influence of Morrison. She's been held to 2 goals since, as we said. But will that be effective in the final quarter? The Swan Districts, when their backs are against the wall, they can really fire. We saw that against East Fremantle last week when the Sharks got back into the game. And then in the second half, Swan Districts just kicked away. The heat's still being turned on here at Steel Blue Oval of Bassendean. We're underway. 34 points is the margin. Subiaco can get at least a couple of goals in the early minutes. Then we have ourselves a tight contest. But Swan Districts eager to show what they did against East Fremantle last week. Ball alongside the centre circle. Ralph couldn't get the kick away. It's intercepted. Now Subiaco have got that first entry into the attacking zone. Buckley with a good mark. Looking for options to move inside that forward 50. One of them there is Rosengrave, who's pushed to the outer side, but elects to go to the left forward pocket. No mark taken. The pressure's really back on, off the ground. Good tackle in the end by Osborne. The hand pass comes back. And Subiaco looking for everything that they've got. Buckley, the hand pass out. Umpire calls play on. At ground level. Swans under siege. Golisano. Flick back to Birchall. Birchall to the outer side. Hyde over the top. No mark. Rosengrave. Caught in a good tackle in the end. Hunt. Was she pushed in the back? Umpire said no. Ball's down at ground level and it's not going anywhere further. It's about 20 metres out from Subiaco's goal. They would love a clearing goal here in this fourth quarter, all thanks to the West Coast Eagles. Over the top is Ralph. Wins out on that tap. Hunt overruns it. Hand pass out to Osborne. Close to the boundary line. And getting herself out of strife there is Ralph. The kick turned over. Filicamo with the intercept mark, and she's going to have a shot for Subiaco's first of the last quarter.
Usually a pretty good finisher, Lara Filicamo, so she'd back herself to kick this one. And it's a great start by Subiaco.
This to make it 28 points if Filicamo can kick it. 30 metres out. Starts right, and it's at the post. Oh, a lucky break for Swan Districts there. 1-5-11 to 6-8-44. 43 points the difference in favour of Swan Districts.
This will show us now if Swan Districts have changed their plan a little bit as Osborne brings this in. So can they connect with a midfielder? Carla Morrison charging in Now Osborne plays on. She goes long. She's looking for the back post, trying to get it over the back to Hyde. She takes a bit of a sit on Golisano. Mel Hardy finds the crumb. Little handball over the top, a little untidy, allows Walker to come into the game. She misses by foot. Rosengrave kicks it off the ground straight into the breadbasket of Ugle Hayward. Oh, sorry, that was actually Mel Hardy. And the whole pack falls on this ball, and the umpire's not happy with that at all. Let's get this ball moving, he suggests. And it's going to be Anderson. Anderson's come up the ground. Will suit Swan Districts. Untidy kick again, but finds East in front of Ortlep. Ortlep's actually playing on Edgeley. Little hand over there allowed East to get this one. East is a little unsure of what to do. She looks towards Hope Ugle, who diving on her knees and attempting a slide, which would have been a wonderful slide in July. Being March, the brakes are on. Hot conditions through Edwards' hands. Brings the defence in. Felacamo's work back from the midfield, gives it to Harkin. She just puts the head down and goes. This kick will favour Thorogood, who's come off Morris in this situation. She's been tracked by Baker. Runner inside's Blackmore. Done this well in the last half in particular. Finds Ritchie. It's offhand, so play on. Ball towards Osborne again. Usually likes this situation. Goes for the soccer off the ground. Demands Nanit to compete with Ritchie, and Ritchie falls on this football. Pretty much dead centre of the ground, Paul. And we'll get another restart.
And it's on the outer wing. It's leaning more to the attacking side of Subiaco, so it's still in their territory. Abby Dowrick coming back on after a bit of a spell. It's that one out there by Ralph. Swan Districts looking to find a break. Rosengrave, good play, releases her teammate and forces Subiaco inside that forward 50. Buckley out the back, couldn't take the mark. Good pick up by Gelmy. Goes at ground level, the hand pass back to Nanit. Nanit looking for Hyde. Fresh area there by Rosengrave, but Hyde puts boot to ball. Subiaco with the intercept. Filicamo, fine play. Hand pass out to Dowrick. Hacks it forward towards the forward 50. Bounce unkind to both players. Henry struggling to get that ball out. And the umpire will say, give it to me.
Swan's a little untidy here.
Yeah, they look a bit tired, actually, and skills have really dropped off. So it'll be up to them now to, I guess, pull their socks up a bit and fix that up.
Bit of controlled ball. Bit of a kick and a catch here will be okay. As this spits out to Hyde. Hyde handballs it back inside the corridor, but she's been whacked on the shoulder as she's done so. Hunt's not too happy with the attention was placed upon Wilkins.
This will be a vital goal if Wilkins can get this one, but she likes to chip
quickly. It brings Osborne into the game again. Very smart defender. Filicamo doesn't quite get a hand to that, but it's good enough to release, and it's Ralph to Osborne. Ralph provides a shepherd on Ritchie, and we're going towards Edgeley. It's Edgeley and Walker. Walker, experienced player, high-level netballer. This ball's kicked in by her, and it actually doesn't go far enough to elude Edgeley. Edgeley's handball misses Baker. Baker's handball finds Morrison, and Morrison's handball finds, or should have found Osborne. Osborne let it bounce in this case. She handballs back to Edgeley. Edgeley over the top to Taylor. Back to Osborne. They're in far East Midland now, trying to come back towards Lakay. Over the backs East, and if she can get it, she can go. But Harkin provides fierce pressure, as she has since she's moved to fullback late last year. Inside handball's okay to Morrison. Morrison, this is where you like her to have the ball. The long shot can carry. Michaela Hyde in terrific position. It actually went through for a point, and slow to get up on the far side after trying to bullock her way through that. Over there, I think it's Jamie Harkin.
Well, Harkin is all right, but
on her feet now.
She's just jogging that one off, but very gingerly, unfortunately. And one of the Subiaco trainers were there to give her a bit of a hand here. The kick out will be taken by Charlie Ortlep, Claire Ortlep, I should say. Ortlep goes short, well spotted out the back. Morrison, but was caught high, caught her opponent player high. It'll be a free kick. Blackmore plays on. Goes across the ground, and a wonderfully judged mark there. Edgeley pushing up the ground in this second half. Edgeley goes towards the corridor. East out the back. Morrison no mark. Pushed off the ground. Dana East. Good pick up by East. Snaps around the corner. Well smothered. Baker shoots towards goal. And it's going to go over the line for a behind. It's across the face. And Subiaco again will look to break away from that defensive 50. Ortlep again has the ball. Ortlep out of the back pocket, out towards half-back. Good mark taken by Birchall. Birchall lowers the eyes, kicks towards a 2-on-1. Maguire out the back, no mark. Taps it from the ground. Rosengrave. Hand pass out. Wilkins immediately pressurised by Henry. Back to Dowrick. Blackmore struggling to break free, but gets caught high. And it'll be a free kick. Ellie Blackmore on the defensive side of centre. Hand pass out. Subiaco doing everything they can to stop the rot. Cortland. Pressure by Maguire has been excellent all in this game so far. Ortlip fresh airs it from the ground. Stribley snatches that one, and a hard tackle there inflicted by Ritchie. And it's holding the ball. Free kick will go the way of Maguire. She has been sensational in the second half in defence, Clint.
She sure has. She's had another good season, and I reckon started this season a lot fitter, Joe, than last. This long ball into the corridor is very good. Cox runs on. She's able to get past Walker just, but Walker affects the kick well enough to fall into the hands of Thorogood. Blackmore on the turnaround takes the chest mark in the centre square. Ahead of her again is Wilkins. Good pressure from Ralph. Wilkins on the ground now to Rust. Over to Filacamo. Rust is still in a tackle behind play. Hyde's got 2 to beat. Birchall's one of those. She steps Birchall. Can't quite find the handle. Tries to go back inside, and she's probably done enough for a ball up. Good pressure, Subiaco. And Hyde had 2 to beat. And at one stage, looks like she's going to beat it easily, but we're reasonably satisfied with the draw.
Leona Birchall's actually had a really good second half. She's been a key to Subi's pressure around the ball. Yeah,
I liked her last year wearing the number 28, and she's fitter and stronger this year and playing good football. We're at half forward with the Swans. Edwards comes through, kicks the ball long, not quite where she wanted to get that. Danielle Wright, if it pitches and comes her way, she's a chance, but it does not, and we'll have a boundary throw in. Forward 50, left-hand side of the ground as we're looking right now. And the Swans will get a chance to get a stoppage goal.
Wright's still in open space towards the goal square. So I reckon if you have the right, tap it out to Wright, she'll be sweeping along to try and get the football and go towards an open goal. No ruck nominated, so it's just punched out of there by McIntosh. Snatched in the end by Anderson. Anderson goes for the hand pass. Hyde. Inboard kick. Snaps over the shoulder. Cowie under pressure. Misread the bounce. Edwards looking for a shot for goal off the ground, and that one just misses.
That was actually terrific work from Thorogood, who was like an ice hockey goalkeeper. Dropped to the knees and took the ball on the body. I think it was Thorogood.
And that was Ortlip. So Ortlip goes direct to centre half back and finds Filacamo. Filacamo takes the mark. So she's going to transfer play out wide to a 2-on-2. East over the top, no mark. Allows Hyde to go in. Kicks it long. They'll contest about 25 metres out. No contest, really. The ball favours the Subiaco defender. The kick is along the ground now. Good pick-up. Hand pass to Walker. Walker under pressure there from Anderson. Goes for the check side kick.
Jeddah.
And a fine mark taken. Chanel Jeddah. She marks about 20 metres out from goal on a difficult angle. And she'll look to seal this game for Swan Districts. So Chanel Jeddah, who started from the bench this afternoon, she'll look to put the finishing touches on this game. From 20 metres out, goes for goal, and it's just to the left-hand side, so that'll be a behind.
The phase build now for Swans, Joe. It's 6 or 7 thrusts here, and the Swans actually have the game covered off behind play. Can't see that on the broadcast here, but Swans are beautifully set up behind the ball, so it's going to be some run and carry from Subiaco. They're struggling to connect with this kick here as Ortler brings the ball back in, along to the line. The numbers are there, and the mark should have been taken, but spilled by McIntosh. They're under pressure again. Clamps on from Michaela Hyde, who is working really hard to get the Swans to be cleaner and a bit more direct, but he's working outnumbered at the moment. Mystery ball from Filacamo to Walters, who's been really good, Walters. She gets one down the ground. Young player, and she's had plenty of the footy today. This is in the hands of Rust, and now Subiaco need to run and spread. They're just a little flat at the moment in terms of they're all on this side of the ground, so they can't travel into the corridor. It's a nice little kick missed by Birchall in the hands of Golisano, who tries to duck and weave and dance, and a bit of nutbush herself. She's pushed over the line by Michaela Hyde. Right under us here, Steel Blue Oval. 6 minutes, 30 seconds to play. Swans in the box seat, of course. A lot to do here from Subiaco in this game. LeKay and Ritchie. Ritchie pushing and shoving. Ritchie's been pretty good. Again, she gets this down to Filacamo. Swans first to arrive at ground level. Hope Ugle Hayward trying to extract this footy. She's wrapped up by Birchall, and we'll do it another time.
Subiaco are well set up defensively. They got an extra defender, a +1 inside that defensive 50, looking for that intercept possession.
As Dana East tries to burst down there, trying to stretch that exact play. It's in the hands of Rennie. And we'll do it another time.
Be on that attacking side of centre for Swan Districts. Lakai and Ritchie. Lakai goes over the top, wins that tap. Renee. And the Lions force it back out to the path of Pacito. Beautiful hand pass. Releases Wilkins. Wilkins goes down the line. Buckley. He's got some space inside that forward 50. Dribbles it to the path of Brown. Brown overruns it. Good recovery. The hand pass goes only as far as Stribley. Breaks through 2 tackles. Hand pass over the top. Henry. Releasing Maguire. She's been great in this second half. And a beautiful kick. Out towards Easton. Takes the mark. She's got Edgley in motion. And 50. Well.
Colasano just ran too close to Eastie just then. She's a little frustrated, but it's a 5-metre protected zone this season. She almost could have taken her wallet out of her pocket as she went past.
Yeah, she probably just got a little bit close there. While they're just moving down quickly, just to mention the poise of 15-year-old Jamie Henry across half-back.
Yeah.
That's a 20-metre handball out to Emma Maguire, which just opened up the field, and for her to be doing that at her age is just outstanding.
Dana Reese, she'll be kicking from about 45, and this will be her second goal. She's backing herself in now with a bit of a breeze blowing. East, lovely long kick out towards the goals. And you could say signed, sealed and delivered for Swan Districts. East gets her second goal and the Swans get their first since the second quarter. They go to 7-12, 54. Subiaco 1-5-11. And Swan Districts, they'll be edging to their 5th straight win and a win clear on top of the ladder.
Osborne tracking Buckley was important too, because Buckley had the pace, but Osborne just cut the angles. And you mentioned Jamie Henry as well, great poise. But have we seen Dana East add another string to her bow today?
I won't lie, I thought she might have been taking a little bit, biting off a little bit more she could chew there, but that was a quality finish. And yeah, I think that might be something that nobody quite knew about her.
Yeah, that's 2 goals today. East, exciting prospect, Manjimup product, played at Donnybrook last year. Moved up to go to university this year and slipped neatly into the Swans starting lineup. She had a lot of work with the State Academy in the pre-season just to lift her fitness and her understandings of the game, and I'd suggest both her and the Swans and the State Academy program are going to benefit from that. Lakai got it this time over Ritchie. Ritchie's probably had the ruck honours today. Dowrick trying to backfeed the whole time to Golisano. One of Lakay's strengths is to follow up, and she's now putting pressure on Claire Ortlap, who's come up to help the midfield. Fired out towards Rosengrave. She might not be able to track this one. It's going to crash into the SKG sign, and Michaela Hyde's going to get a freebie. Now, Michaela Hyde is going to look for someone to come off half-back here, I think, although the game might be just about plugged here with the heat today. The half-backs are quite content to stay still. Drives the line instead towards Edgley. He's been good in this situation this season. Didn't do quite enough to be paid the mark. It's in the hands again of Dowrick. Long kick to get out of there in front of Brown. Brings Lara Filacamo into the game, and she's a famed soccer player. She transitioned from soccer to footy, and she does that quite a bit. A lovely clearing ball, which has resulted in forward of centre stoppage for Subiaco.
Swan Districts, they'll go a win clear on top of the ladder with this. They lead it by 43 points. Tap forward, Stribley. Almost kicked in danger there. That kick was by Wilkins inside that forward territory for Subiaco. Tap forward by Maguire to Hardy, who puts boot to ball. They gain about 40 metres. Ortlap in front. Taps it forward. There's a free kick holding on. And it's going to go the way of Swan Districts. Oh no, it's Subiaco, I should say. It'll go to Ortlap. Ortlap, a beautiful kick down the line and finds Wilkins. Wilkins again. Directly sending that ball down the line. Filacamo, beautiful hand pass over the top. And now the Lions are away. The kick towards Hunt. Over the top there, couldn't take the mark. Hunt regathers. Hand pass, the snap coming in from 35 metres out in the Brown direction. But in front is Maguire. Favoured by the bounce is Brown. Goes for goal and snaps from 15 metres out. Puts it through. Subiaco get their second, but it's a late consolation. They got a 2-5-17. Swan Districts staying on 7-12-54. Taylisha Brown getting her first goal of this matchup. And as you see there, Brown favoured by the drop of the ball. And a good pick up, quick snap from 10. And that is put through the middle.
That was a good reward for effort for Talisha Brown. I think she's actually worked very hard in that forward line today for Subiaco, both trying to move the ball in, but also she's done a lot of unrewarded running and just hasn't probably been super clean with her hands, and it's cost herself a couple of opportunities. So it was really, really good to see her get the score on the board there.
So just about 40 seconds of play left here at Steel Blue Oval. Ralph goes over the top and wins the tap, but Filicamo with the intercept from Dowrick. Hand pass out towards Golisano. Probing kick towards the forward 50. Ball at ground level, the hand pass. Wilkins. Long kick, they'll contest about 30, but the ball bounces in front. Hunt. Playing it out in front, goes through one, goes through two. Centering kick in the Brown direction. Brown takes the mark, and she'll kick after the siren, and she'll kick her second goal of the game if she can put it through. But it'll be Swan District's day here at Bassendean Oval. They'll go to 5 straight wins and a win clear on top of the ladder. But Brown will have the final say on the last margin, on the final margin. She can kick this. The margin will be stripped back to 31 points. From 15 metres out, and it blows to the left-hand side for a behind. But it doesn't matter. Swan Districts, they are victorious. They've won their 5th straight game, and they go to top spot on the ladder, a win clear of Claremont. 7-12-54 to 2-6-18. Overwhelming victory for Swan Districts, Clint.
Yeah, I think we said it earlier in the call. Did all the work when it was needed to be done in the first quarter when it was hot. Really put the pressure onto Subiaco. Subiaco very brave in the last half, but just too big an ask.
Yeah, and I think the weather today probably played a big part for both teams. It's I like summer footy, I'm not going to lie, but 37, 38 degrees is getting up there. So.
And the Swans have copped 2 of these really hot days. We've been really lucky with most games being played between that 26 and 30. Swans have played a game in 38 and a game in 37 today, or 38 again. And it's going to be interesting to see how the players pull up, as we get towards that 6 or 8 games into the season with the fatigue that the heat puts on them.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's not to take away from Subiaco's second half. The things that we certainly discussed at half-time, where they just needed to lower their eyes and use those really good ball distributors that they've historically got. And, new players come in, but your Lara Filicamos and Tani Golisanos and Jamie Harkin, I thought, had a very good second half, along with Claire Ortlep. These guys...
Tani Tessa's found the handle late. That's important.
Absolutely. I thought Mel Hardy was really good on her early. It's a good education for a young player to go up against an AFLW quality player there. So, and it might be Tani's only first or second game back. She's been injured, I think, with Freo. So, it was a good lesson for a lot of girls out there, and I do think that Tani Tessa had a good second half.
But if we take this game, in a couple of days' time, it was really a game of 2 halves from a Swan District's point of view. Their attacking was good. It wasn't so good in the second half until those final few minutes in the last quarter when East got on the scoreboard a second time. But it was their defenders that kept Swan Districts in that position that they were in that second half. You had the likes of Osborne, Anderson, and of course Maguire working hard in that defensive 50, especially Osborne and Maguire. They were the two, they were the defensive duo, I should say, that kept Swan Districts in that position that they are. Good intercept possessions, lowering the eyes from defensive 50 and hitting those targets.
Oh, most definitely. And historically, people would say that that's Swan's game over the last sort of 8 or 9 years. Had great success with that, being able to drive from behind. Have changed that game style up this year, but it was good to see that we were able to go back to it when needed today.
What about Subiaco, Clint? You cannot discount their effort in the second half. I mean, they were held to just 1 behind in that first half. Then they scored a couple of goals themselves through some good ball work from Hunt, also Brown late in the game, and also Haley Cortlett. But also, like we mentioned, there was players like Blackmore, Thorogood, and also Ortlep who moved up into the midfield for the first time in that final term to try and, get a little bit of respectability onto the scoreboard. That worked for a little bit, but then they just ran out of legs in the last quarter.
Oh, yeah, very hot. I mean, it's hot for both sides out there, and Subiaco were chasing tail for a lot of that first part of it. I was really impressed that they got Subiaco got the ball into the hands of their good players, and they started to really focus on the connection through those. So when we sort of said we want to see Ortlep to Golisano, to Felakamo, to Golisano, and we saw that several times in the last half. So I think there's plenty there for Subiaco. They looked much more confident than they have this year in that last half, and I think as long as they don't lose their faith in themselves, everything's going to be okay. They're going to get a lot of players back over the next 6 weeks, including, you can see down there with the broken arm there, Charlie Thomas will be back very shortly, and she'll add some class to their side. So there's absolutely no reason to despair. It's difficult to be in the position that Subi in because they've never been in this position before, but they just need to keep working on their plan as we see the Swans huddle up, and we should get a decent rendition of the song today. I don't know who's going to be in the middle.
Jess Cox's birthday.
And you get a wash.
That's a great birthday present for Jessica Cox. A big win for Swan Districts and gets a post-game wash-up from some of her teammates there in the middle of the circle. But a great win to Swan Districts. 7-12, 54 to 2-6-18. Clint, Joe, fantastic job from you as always, and we'll wrap things up now with some of the highlights from that game with some final takeaways. First of all to you, Clint, Swan Districts again did the attacking when they needed to, and they just kept the momentum going their way. Yeah, a lot of playmakers, a lot of players decide. They've got a lot of generals in the back half of the ground that decide which side of the ground they're going to attack. They're only going to get stronger from here.
Yeah, and I think for Subi, that second half really showed the blueprint of what they need to do going forward this season, and as they start to get some troops back, they're going to start to get some score on the board, and they'll start to get some good wins. What about Subiaco, Clint? You know, like Joe said, they had some good work in that second half. They got some ball winners, and they showed promise for what they can do in the next couple of weeks. Keep in mind, they are still a win behind the top four. Can they get into the top four? Well, Tanya Golisano is a leading goal kicker for this team in this competition in its first year, and she's back now, and she's only going to get better and stronger. If they can isolate her forward, they can start to kick a score. Fantastic job from you, Clint, and fantastic job from you, Joe, as well. And thank you to all our viewers at home anywhere around Western Australia and across the football world. We thank you very much for your company this afternoon, where it was Swan Districts victorious 52-18 here at Steel Blue Oval. And we thank you very much for joining us in our WAFLW coverage. And on behalf of Rob, Matt, Michael, and of course Brendan and all of the Front Row Screens team, this is Paul Persick wishing you a very good evening from Steel Blue Oval, where it was the Swan Districts going 5 wins from 5.
This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud partner of the WAFL and WAFLW. The West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams. Kia, proud partner of the WAFLW. This is Kia. Simply Energy, supporting WA Footy's talent pathway.